has the best popcorn you've ever tasted. One thing might be a little harder to notice, because somewhere tucked in that neat row of houses is hunger. It could be your next-door neighbor, or your coworker, or your daughter's friend from school, because over 30 million Americans don't know where their next meal is coming from. Hunger lives in neighborhoods all around us, but it doesn't have to. Together, we can provide 1 billion meals by 2030, because everyone should be welcome at the table. Learn more at nourishingneighbors.com. Let's break the cycle of hunger, together.
So, what's the asking price on this house?
You'd probably be more comfortable living somewhere else.
How long is the lease?
Sure, you can afford to live here, but
How about the schools?
we have twins.
This neighborhood probably wouldn't be right for your kids.
If a real estate or rental agent says anything like this, you are being discriminated against, and it is illegal. If you experience housing discrimination, go to HUD.gov/fair housing and report it. Fair housing. The law is on your side. A message from HUD in partnership with the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Kids across America are going to school hungry every day. With help from caring people across America, No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. It's sunny and breezy this afternoon with a high of 39, but with the wind chill feeling more like upper 20s. We'll drop to 20 overnight tonight under clear skies, and lots of sunshine is on tap for tomorrow, but winter hangs around with a high of only 37.
Weather update brought to you by Blue Shark Vodka, the world's smoothest vodka. Pour Blue Shark Vodka at all your events to lift everyone's spirits. Blue Shark Vodka, the shark that doesn't bite. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 433 points to 48,978.
In the corner, Evans. Can't hit a three. Brown there to clean it up and dunk it down for his first field goal. Hit now into the paint, the lob to Gumba. Oh, man, that left-handed punch to build the lead to 14. And now Hamenya stole the outlet pass, and he'll dunk it down with two hands. Inside it goes for his brother Cameron. Spins on Hadley, goes in and dunks. Speed, power, athleticism, everything on display. The lead is 26.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan on a Tuesday. Feels like we're getting a little bit back to normal after a weekend filled with ice and weather and everything else. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. We have a good one for you. I've said this a few times throughout the year. Feels like a real ACC basketball season. That means a lot of the best basketball is being played by the teams really close to us, and that was proven last night, and hopefully it'll continue to be proven tonight. Duke smoked Louisville, State versus Syracuse tonight, and we do have a finale. Maybe, possibly, a finale to the Darian Mensah saga circus between he and the team he quarterbacked just recently to an ACC championship, the Duke football team. All of that and more in today's show. All of that and more in a little segment we call the Big Three at 3.
Number 1.
Duke absolutely lit up Louisville last night. 83-52 final score. At times, it didn't feel that close. It was very much I mean, correct me if this analogy goes a little astray here, Dennis, but
right.
I love a good analogy.
Yeah, I know you do.
They were the Frankenstein in a horror movie where it felt like Louisville was doing so much. They're running from this room to that room. They're grabbing the chainsaw. They're doing this. And Duke was just walking, but was somehow keeping up with them. You know what? Like they were just steady, plodding forward. And in movie magic, right, I can be sprinting as fast as I possibly can, and the horror movie monster is just walking behind me, but they're catching up. That's what it felt like for Duke, right? Louisville trying everything under the sun, and Duke just good play, solid defense, rebound, dunk, Gongba down the middle, Boozer. It was methodical. It was 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and you win by 30 against a top 20 team in the country, by the way. I do think we need to acknowledge that perhaps Louisville, at least as of right now, isn't what so many told us they would be at the beginning of the year. But Duke might be better than what everybody told us at the beginning of the year. Rob Doster of the Field of 68 was talking about Duke and how physically they can absolutely wear you down.
If you are going to beat this Duke team, you have to come with a certain level of physicality. And I don't think that Louisville has the bodies to be able to match it. So, yeah, Mikael Brown's out of rhythm. And when he's out of rhythm, this Louisville team is limited offensively. That is all very much true. But this was Duke just kind of taking these guys behind the woodshed, man. Like this was a big boy performance from the Blue Devils. And I said this on Saturday, and I said it last week, and I still believe that we are not rating this Duke team as good as they are. I do feel like we are still kind of underrating them nationally. When you got the National Player of the Year and you got other guys that are stepping up, Isaiah Evans has been better of late. Dame Sarr's turned into a really, really good kind of, I don't even want to say just a defensive presence out there. You got Pat Ngongba and Malik Brown that can give you different looks. I really, really like this Duke team.
They're becoming a team where when you're playing against them, you should be looking to your backup bigs that don't play very much and going, listen, your name is 5 fouls. Like, you got to go out there and play physical force with whatever you got. I know you don't play often, but if we don't fight back here and Duke gets in that momentum steamroll rhythm, it's going to be an issue. And yes, all those guys, Himania scored a bunch. Gongbo was really good. Like, they have other players. I still think if you're going to catch them, it's going to be because somebody, Boozer has I don't even say off night, has a run-of-the-mill 10 of 22 for 18 points night.
I mean, he had 19 and 10 last night.
And it was I still don't think he's anywhere near his ceiling, and he's averaging whatever he's averaging. But if he has an off night, I still think there's not a guarantee that someone else steps up scoring the basketball. And that's going to be their question. But goodness, on a night like last night, Louisville had no answers. None of them. That's number one. Let's get to number two.
Number two.
NC State versus Syracuse tonight, 7 p.m. Listen, they're favored by double digits. It's like an 11.5-point spread on this one. Syracuse is, as much as I talk about the ACC being so much better and impressive and every game's a chance, there are, as every conference has, 3 or 4 at the bottom that aren't really keeping up with the crowd, right? Not keeping up with the flow of traffic. So if you're State, it becomes must-win-ish, right? I'm not putting the full must-win stamp, but, you really need to take care of business in these. You can't have those bad losses. And what it continues to be for State is this. They need the eye test to match up with what the numbers are telling us, right? They're still high in the net, high in KenPom, high in all of these acronyms, stats that we can't figure out on our own. But then you watch them and occasionally you're like, really, this team? That's the one that's playing great? I had a friend that I've talked about this in golf. There are a few golfers that I've never seen win a tournament. I'm a big golf fan, big PGA fan. I've never watched them win on a Sunday, but they have 10 career wins. And I'm going, they must win every tournament I'm not watching because they're everybody tells me they're good, but I never see it. There's some people that think that about State, right? Where everybody's going, no, actually, their advanced analytics say they're great. You can't, oh no, they're better than you think. And then I don't know, every time I watch them, they're unimpressive. Not me, but I've been told that. A game like tonight against Syracuse is one of those games to, A, take care of business, win the game, blah, blah, blah. I hate that I always have, most important is win the game, but set up some side quests, right? Darian Williams, give me 15 plus, right? Matt Abel, give me 2 athleticism plays off the bench because you're supposed to be the spark. Kadir Copeland, I need like 6 assists to continue running the offense and give me 2 steals to show that you still have that part of your game. Van Allen Lubin, I don't even know if this is a side quest at this point. This is just, open and shut. Give me a double-double. McNeil, I need a couple threes. Like, you want to make sure what you learned last game, which at Pitt, by the way, it was not a great Darian Williams game, but everybody else was a star in their role, and we illustrated that earlier. Do that again. Be a star in your role, exactly what you're asked for every time. And when you're getting a team that you are favored by double digits, home game, all of those things built in, take advantage of it, right? Go accomplish some of those side quests. Win and is another way I've described it. That's number 2. Let's go ahead and hit number 3.
Number 3.
Darian Mensah and Duke and Darian Mensah have settled out of court. He can go to Miami, as it was reported. Pete Thamel's tweet was like, now he can go enroll at Miami as expected. And I'm going like, well, he's not actually, I'm glad that Miami can be waiting so patiently for him to distance himself from Duke. No, I'm kidding, right? Tampering happens. I have 3 questions about this. 3. And we'll, I'll just ask them right now. Was this situation enough of a deterrent for future athletes to do the same thing or that want to do the same thing and make them reconsider? Right? We don't know how much the money was, assuming that's what settlement means. We don't know how much Darian Mensah had to give back or pay to Duke. It was kind of awkward for a couple weeks. Is that enough of a deterrent? Is it enough for the next guy who has a contract signed and is tampered with and has another team say they'll pay him twice as much or however much it is, for them to go, you know what, I'm not going to do that because I saw what happened to Darian Mensah? Because if it's not, then I don't know if you call Duke a winner like so many people are. Next question. If it is Miami for Mensah, if he does go to Miami, what does Jim Phillips have to say about that? What does the ACC think about pretty obvious roster robbery? I don't know what to call it. Pretty obvious just taking a player from your ACC champion by another ACC team. How do they feel about that? Somebody that was announced and they announced, meaning the player, Darian Mensah, announced with a whole video, did the whole thing. I'm coming back to Duke. And then suddenly, nope, and he's going to another ACC program. What does the ACC have to say about that? And obviously, when you're asking what the conference says, the commissioner is going to be the one that has to be the mouthpiece on that one. And then number 3, what's the takeaway? How does this change things? Because do you know what I think the takeaway is actually going to be? For schools, I'm talking about for Duke and for other ACC programs and for maybe the conference as a whole, I think the takeaway might be rewrite your contracts to be even more airtight. Remove any loophole, right? If they put a financial buyout in there and make it astronomical, right? Because I think part of the issue here was nobody really knew what the cost of breaking it was. It was very obvious that because they're not employees, you can't prevent him from playing somewhere else. And the question became, well, what's the punishment? Right? You can't prevent him from enrolling in school somewhere else. So how are we going to settle this? And I assume it was money. And I think they would have liked the contract to have said, it'll be $20 million. Just put something crazy in there. And I don't pretend to be a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but I have a feeling the ACC is getting, ironically, probably some Miami lawyers, some Duke lawyers, some Clemson lawyers, some Stanford lawyers, and getting them all together and saying, let's write a ACC NIL rev share contract, all the wording that we can use as a template for everybody in the ACC. And I'm looking at all of the lawyers here of all of these great institutions, and I'm saying, I don't want there to be a way out. I think that's probably going to be the takeaway, which is not great for I think anybody, unless those contracts are much, much more fair on both sides. Either way, like I don't want to say it's done. I saw a lawyer, again, I don't even know if it's a lawyer, someone on Twitter pretending to be a lawyer or saying they are a lawyer, claiming to be a lawyer, saying that the language of the settlement, without it being with I forget what the word is. I don't want to say it, but basically they can refile. They can appeal anytime within the next year. Duke can, because there wasn't certain language in there that says like this is final. So if Mensah or whoever doesn't make good on whatever the settlement is, I guess like halfway through the next year's season, they could be like, injunction, back on. You can't play. I hope it's over just for the good of everybody. You can move on, put it in the rear view. Hopefully the settlement makes everybody whole. But if it pops up again, it's going to be hideously ugly, and it was already pretty ugly. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's just a little bit to whet your whistle to start the show. When we come back, Duke lit up Louisville last night, supposedly one of the best teams in the ACC. Louisville was. What does John Shire say about the game? Stick around.
Hey, it's Adam Golden as the Carolina Hurricanes shoot for their 8th consecutive playoff appearance. That's right, 8 in a row. That's not the goal, I should remind you. The goal is being, as Rod Brindamore likes to say, the last team standing. What do they need? Who will get them there? You know where you can find the answers on every episode of the Canes Corner podcast, live on YouTube after games, and wherever you get your podcast. Rate, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends.
This is the sound of Claire, cooking dinner at home. And that's the sound of a fraud alert from Wells Fargo, flagging a charge for a pricey restaurant in Paris. Considering Claire isn't in Paris right now, that seemed odd. To the bank and to Claire. 2 taps later, Claire says nope to the charge, and Wells Fargo is on the case. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time, and there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K-Yow Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. I'm Jenny Palmentier, CEO of the K-Yow Cancer Fund. From now through January 31st, Triangle Area Bojangles will donate all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry, do some good, and get something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Caleb Foster now. A jab step. Another. Bobbled it. Got it back. Launches. And hits a 3. Caleb Foster has 7. The lead back to 16.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Duke absolutely lit up Louisville last night. Won by 30. Dropped a 30 burger on them, 83-52. A little bit more, actually.
31.
I will, let's acknowledge the context of it. The more and more I watch Louisville, I think they're probably more around the 5th or 6th best team in the ACC, maybe a little bit lower, rather than the 2nd as they were kind of pegged at the beginning of the year, which is a big difference, right? That's significant. Not to disrespect Louisville, just to call a spade a spade. They're right now 4-4 in conference, and kind of settling into lower tier 2, upper tier 3 in the conference. Also, they traveled yesterday, right? So, wake up, travel to the area. They didn't want to travel earlier due to the storm. And while high schoolers find a way to do it everywhere, college players are not used to traveling and playing on the same day.
Yeah, day of travel, flying in. I have no idea how long that flight is.
It can't be a long one.
That can't be that long.
And I'm sure they weren't traveling, super
they weren't doing commercial.
Yeah, super
you that.
coach. You know what I mean? They weren't tucked into the exit row like the rest of us. So they weren't maybe their best, and they aren't as good as we thought they were. That being said, 31 against a top 20 team in the country, 31 against a team that even if they're not putting it together all the way, they did receive one of the highest portal rankings in the transfer portal this past year with all of this perimeter talent that they brought in. Michael Brown, the youngster, was considered one of the top freshmen in the country, which is pretty exciting when you think of how many awesome freshmen there have been. To win by 31 in that game is impressive. I still think there's another level for them, but to win by 31 in that game is impressive. And so much of it is coming down to, as far as like if there is another level, right? Let's say they're already locked into the top tier of the ACC, and Duke counts by, just like Carolina or just like Kentucky, right? They count by banners. If they want to start hanging banners, how are they going to do it? I think it comes down to, for lack of a better term, the others, right? You have Cam Boozer, and like I think it was appropriate on Saturday, and we talked about this, that the best freshman in the country had this bananas Saturday. 3 of them scored 40-something points. 3 different freshmen across the country in big games, by the way, against ranked teams, against rivalries. The 3 of them scored 40 or more, and on that same day, Cam Boozer had 32. Because I think that encapsulates him. I don't know if his ceiling is as high, right, as like a DeBonsa or a Darren Peterson or some of these other guys all the way at the top of the draft. But his floor is so much higher than everybody else's, right? It seems nearly impossible if you watch him that he would have like an 8-point game. And that floor gives you a certain thing that you can lean on, you can count on. Aside from that, where's the contributions coming from? That's where I think Duke has the ability to get better, and that's where they're also vulnerable. A game like last night, it was a Hamania game, and it was a Gongba game. Big Pat came through, had a little stretch there where they couldn't stop him down low. He's bullying. John Shire talked about getting contributions from different guys each night. He said that in his postgame presser, and we have that audio for you.
We're still growing in that respect. I think Isaiah's, shown, Pat has shown pretty consistently that they can be, big-time weapons for us. I thought Isaiah actually had critical baskets in key moments tonight, I was proud of him, his drives. I thought he had really strong, good drives. And then we need other guys to step up, and I think what Nick did tonight was huge. Dame's done it. Caden's done it. Malik, Darren can do it. There's no question that's the strength of our team, that we have to continue to create some, I want to say consistency with knowing what you're going to get, but also embracing the fact that it may just continue to be different guys closing games or different guys in key moments, and that's a strength of ours.
It is a strength of yours. You know what else it is, John Shire? That is a coaching challenge. Right, the ideal is you do have a true hierarchy, right? You have your number one scorer, you have your next scorer, you have your best defender, you have your big man scorer, and you can lean on them with near every game consistency. But if you do have this kind of hodgepodge of it's Cam Boozer and Caden Boozer tonight, or Cam Boozer and Isaiah Evans tonight, or Cam, Isaiah, and tonight is going to be Malik Brown knocking down some shots, or whoever it is. Like if it's a game-by-game kind of different situation, then guess who has to be the one that's recognizing that, changing his rotations because of it, changing his closing lineups because of it, calling plays differently because of it? That's going to be you, John Shire. And that's, by the way, what you're paid for, right? That's like your job, is to recognize those sort of things. But it's, probably easier isn't what you're looking for, but more comfortable if you know, like, hey, these 5 are closing games for us. Hey, when we need a bucket, these 5 are our scorers. Or in this situation, these 5 are our guys. And you can almost have it written down in ink on your clipboard or wherever you keep your stuff in your portfolio. But with this Duke team, I think you can kind of really etch Cam Boozer in stone and probably write Isaiah Evans' name in marker. Everybody else's, it's dry erase. It's putting them up there, moving them, try this, moving them, try that. Every game it's different. And as long as somebody steps up every game, you're good. And as long as the coaching staff and the rest of the players recognize within the flow which one of them it is, you're good. It's when they don't, or you recognize the wrong one, and you're in a little bit of trouble. The good news is there is Cam Boozer down low, and in games where the opposing team doesn't have a true defensive big, Big Pat is completely comfortable bullying. He'll catch it, and he'll hesitate to let you get in position just so he can make the layup over you. He'll catch oops. He'll hang out down there. They were, as you're about to hear from Shire again in the postgame, they were relentless down low.
Those critical moments where they made shots or made a run, I thought the focus was there. Against Louisville, you can never rest because they're always moving. And I thought the discipline and the maturity showed up in those moments, end of the first half, as we got the lead. Start of the second half was a mature response. And, again, man, I'm just so proud of the character. I'm just proud of the mentality of our guys. And I think it showed up really in that area. And, again, playing to our strengths, we found that the paint game is going to be huge. 42-10, 47-26 on the boards. I think that's the difference maker. I just think that shows our competitiveness.
I think it does show your competitiveness, and also it shows a pretty big advantage you have over Louisville. Pretty big advantage you have over the specific team you were playing that night. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. They will continue to be tested in the ACC, which I think is something the last few Duke teams and the last few really good teams out of the ACC didn't have as much advantage of. Hopefully they're not all 30-point blowouts because I actually think, with so many young guys, they need those close games. They need to work on executing down the stretch and all those things. That's always it's the most uncomfortable complaint to have about a team when you're in the ACC tournament or they're in the NCAA tournament. You're like, I don't know if they've had enough close games, and it's like, I'm not. So you're punishing them for not letting bad teams hang around, or for having the killer instinct to put them away early. And it's like, yeah, kind of, I am, because there's gonna be moments in those big games where it comes down to the final moments, and you have to be comfortable in them.
They have some tough games coming up. They still have Carolina twice. They have Virginia. They also have NC State, but they also have a game against Clemson and Michigan, by the way.
Yep, that Michigan game's looming large. The UNC games, those games are always kind of, I don't know, put them in their own bubble. They're just different. But they are big, and if they're close, then, more power to you.
You have 5 games against ranked opponents plus NC State on top of it.
But last night was a ranked opponent, too.
That's true. That's very true.
And by the way, every game, I don't think if they play Louisville every 10 games, they beat them by 30 in most of them.
Yeah.
I think that's a much closer game most of the time. So I'm not banking on that being the results for the rest of time. But it was impressive. It was just methodical, straightforward, immovable object type stuff. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back in a second with the Dean's List. But before we get to any of that, Dennis Cox has something for you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers. I know one thing I'm definitely not going to be doing anytime soon with this cold weather and the roads the way they were. That's be hopping on the motorcycle and riding around. But that's one of the reasons why I can't wait till the springtime. Not only is March Madness hit, but also March is generally the time when things open up and the warm weather arrives, and that's where I get to hit the open road on the motorcycle. But I also I don't want to be the only one out there on the road on a motorcycle. I want you to be out there as well, and I actually have an opportunity for you out there to possibly be out there on the road with me. Dennis Cox here, again, for my friends over at Law Tigers, and the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. That's right, Art Moto Garage, Shiny Side Paint, Carolina Hurricanes, Law Tigers, giving one Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle. Easy to enter. Go to caniacsbike.com. That's right, caniacsbike.com to enter for your chance to win. The deadline to enter, it's March 29th, but don't wait till then. Enter now. Go to caniacsbike.com. Bike will be given away live on April 4th at the game, and it includes tickets and a catered suite. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will be back with the Dean's List, including our old friend Matt Rule making some college sports history. Stick around.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. One thing.
For 100 days, I'm going to cross the 7 continents because the answers to everything important are out there at the edges of our world. I'm stepping into the unknown. Where are we going? To see our planet
This is amazing.
as it's never been seen before. From pole to pole.
Pole to Pole with Will Smith from National Geographic. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
Show me the way.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
At First Carolina Bank, we pride ourselves on building relationships and doing the day-to-day things in banking extremely well. Experience the First Carolina way for yourself or your business today. Visit firstcarolinabank.com. First Carolina Bank, member FDIC.
If you are a contact lens wearer and you are tired of wasting time and money, you need Travers LASIK and Dr. Lori Travers, because in about 10 minutes, Dr. Lori can put you on the path to 20/20 vision, and it's totally painless. 2 year 0-interest financing is available. And if you are a first responder, police, firefighter, or EMT, Travers is giving you exclusive savings as well. 919-510-6830. 919-510-6830. TraversLASIK.com.
Trimble, Haynes in the air. Take that, Dayton. We're first in flight. Trimble bangs it in for
2. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get to the Dean's List, it's not a hockey night in Carolina, but I'm almost as excited as if it were a hockey night in Carolina.
Might as well be.
Canes aren't playing, but we do get to hear from the bus stop.
Let's go.
Brandon Bussey will be the guest, the featured guest, the guest of honor at tonight's Canes Corner. Originally scheduled for yesterday, rescheduled for today, so you can make your way on out. You could actually watch it in person at the local, or you can listen in here on 99.9 The Fan, the 99.9 The Fan app.
We'll have it streaming on YouTube as well.
We'll have it streaming on our 99.9 The Fan YouTube, and it's an hour. Mike Maniscalco really diving into the nitty-gritty of what makes the bus stop tick, and also getting some fun stories and everything about his really unbelievable rise from AHL journeyman to goalie number 1 on the team leading the Eastern Conference in the NHL. It is one of the cooler stories in sports going on right now, and we'll have the most in-depth conversation that anyone's really had with Bussey since this glow up. So that's going to be right here on 99.9 The Fan and all those other ways, the app, the YouTube, and everything else. Tonight, check it out. It's 7 o'clock, correct? Is when things get started? 7 o'clock. With that being said, now that we have that out of the way, you know where to go for the Bussey. Let's jump onto the Dean's List. Dennis, should we start with our old friend Matt Rule?
Yes, we should.
At the end of the day,
we're putting McKenna Cook on the Dean's List. California high school girls flag football player McKenna Cook was extended a historic scholarship offer by Nebraska football coach Matt Rule, making the first ever scholarship offer by a Power 4 conference team for flag football. Now, McKenna is not being offered by Matt Rule to play for Matt Rule and the Cornhuskers football program, but Nebraska is in the early stages of adding women's flag football as a varsity sport, and it is expected to be up and running by 2028, according to reports. So they are already in the process of offering scholarships and getting girls on campus, so they will be ready to roll as a varsity sport when it opens up in 2028. And you ready? So first of all, as a pretty big football diehard that is also a girl dad, I mean, my daughter's not walking yet. She's not even 1 year old. But we'll be working on a 3-step drop. I mean, if it's out there right now that girls can play football at the varsity Division I college level, we'll get out there. We'll get working on some ladders, right? More modern throwing motion than I was taught, but we'll get her working on it. Cook is a beast. You ready for some stats?
Okay.
She is a junior.
All right.
She threw for 112 touchdowns and just a hint over 7,000 yards in her 24-3 flag football season, which ended in a CIF, which is like the state tournament in California, finals loss to the number 1 ranked team in the country. And you know the crazy part?
What's that?
She is historic. The first Power 4 conference scholarship offer for flag football in the history of the sport. And she is unlikely to even accept the scholarship offers because apparently she is a bananas soccer recruit as well and has already committed to Georgia to play soccer.
Nice.
So she said, no thanks on the football, yes to the football.
There you go.
From California to Georgia to play soccer. I think she should take one less leg and stop here in the Triangle. A lot of good college programs in this area here in McKenna, and also then make us into a flag football dynasty. Play both. More Dean's List. Do you have some Dean's List you'd like to write here, Dennis?
I do. I'm going college football coaches that made it to the NFL and are now head coaches. For example, all in the last 5 years, we've seen Jeff Hafley, who's now the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
BC, old school.
All in the last 5 years, coach at the collegiate level. Joe Brady just got promoted from offensive coordinator to head coach of the Buffalo Bills. 5 years ago, where was he coaching? College football.
Was that LSU?
It was LSU,
Oh.
I guess 2019, so 6 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah, 2019, Joe Brady, LSU. Then also you have Jesse
erased
Minter.
the Carolina Panthers years. Those don't
there's
exist.
that. Yeah, those are easy to forget. Then you have Jesse Minter, who actually spent much of his career actually coaching college football. I know he had a little stop with the Ravens, was recently defensive coordinator for the LA Chargers, but just a couple of years ago, he was winning a national championship with Michigan, and before that, he was coaching at Vanderbilt. And he's also coached previously at Georgia State, Indiana State, Cincinnati, and Notre Dame. So yeah, college football coaches becoming NFL head coaches. You make Dean's List.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that's because the college game is becoming more like the pro game and not reverse. I do think there's I don't want to say dumbing down, but I think there's a simplification of what's going on in the NFL.
Oh, it's
to make it more like the college game because they don't give you time to learn anymore. So when a player shows up, they have to be ready to roll, and the easiest way to do that is to make your offense as similar to the college offense or defense, same thing, as possible.
This is a worthy discussion for another time.
It is. It's one of my. I have that conversation with a lot of people. I'm very confused by it. More Dean's List. Jersey advertisers.
Go on.
The NCAA is approving jersey patch advertisements for this upcoming college football season. So you can, you've seen this in pro sports, just like a little, almost where the Nike logo is, but on the opposite side of the chest, or the Adidas or whatever your team's logo is, on the opposite side of the chest, you can now have like a true advertisement, which does open up, again, you want to talk about like bar conversations. Get your buddies together, pick your favorite team, and decide which company you want the logo. And then also, I've seen this, a ton of amateur Photoshop artists putting like the Charmin logo on the jersey of their rival.
Oh, like on Notre Dame? I like it.
I've seen it three teams at least, including two here in the Triangle. I won't say which ones. And Notre Dame. So fans are getting after it with the Charmin soft right on the jersey.
Now, your template there, buddy.
It's clever. I like rivalries.
You know what we should do? We should assign to the schools here, like which.
Ooh. And honestly, does Jordan just go get like a bigger logo and get North Carolina?
Yeah, right.
Because I know they're already on there because they're the
Jordan
gear, whatever, merchandise partner. But if I'm Carolina, I don't want anything other than the Jordan logo is the coolest logo. Like the Jumpman. It's awesome. Why would you want to put like GE on the other side of that? That's just like, I just want the Jordan logo on both sides.
And put Krispy Kreme right there.
Well, I don't know. You want an offensive lineman out there like, oh.
Yeah, I do actually.
Oh,
hey, man.
Krispy Kreme. Donuts. It's like very Simpsons. More Dean's List. Arizona basketball. Big game last night. You heard it right here on 99.9 The Fan. But they watched the game. They did the scouting report. They paid attention. A.J. DeBonsa had 43 points on 63% shooting versus Utah in the previous game. He still got his 24 points against Arizona for BYU. It took him 24 shots. Shot 6 of 24. That's hey, we watched the game. The guy scored 40-something. Let's make it more difficult for him. And that's exactly what he did. And credit to DeBonsa. He's like, no, this is my role. I'm the scorer. I'm going to, shooter's going to shoot. Keep forcing the issue. Got to the line and all of that. But Arizona ended up winning the game and obviously made it difficult for one of the most talented freshmen in the country.
86-83 win.
Arizona number 1 in the country, undefeated at the time, and still currently, but obviously it'll shake up. BYU was number 13 in the country, but had momentum. Big game. Arizona won. They get on the Dean's List. And finally, my last Dean's Lister for today. NC State quarterback C.J. Bailey and JoJo Trader, their incoming wide receiver, out of the transfer portal.
Okay.
JoJo Trader is transferring from Miami, where he just, obviously was part of their run through the CFP. They were high school teammates. That's the dream right there. That's the dream. C.J. Bailey and his high school receiver now get to go to a power conference, make NIL money, and continue that relationship. That's like the Friday Night Lights sitting by the campfire, Texas Forever Street. Like, that's the stuff you talk about when you're in, sophomore year. We're both going to go. We're going to end up at the same school. We're going to do this. Then we're going to go to the NFL. Then we're going to do this. Then we're going to do that. And they get to live it out. A little far away from their home, right? They're kind of from the South Florida area. But, heck, bring the vibes. C.J. Bailey, JoJo Trader. And I guess, from reading the reaction from Miami fans, JoJo might have a bit of the dropsies. Maybe got a little bit of the I shouldn't have ate that popcorns during his time in Miami. Give him his high school quarterback and watch all that just go away. It's like riding a bike. You go back, the good times, right? Yeah, I actually would argue receivers catch better from their high school quarterback than they catch from anyone else for the rest of their lives. Unless you become like Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison or something. It's like comfort food. And that's it for the Dean's List here on The Drive. Dismissed. It was a competitive week for the podium. Multiple teams probably are expecting to hear their team at the top winning the gold medal for what their basketball team over the last week was able to accomplish. But we'll be the final judge of that, and we'll give you our rankings in just a minute. First, Dennis Cox has a message for you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick from my good friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I know we're getting towards the end of the month of January, and I know a lot of people that have had that workout goal or health mindset for the start of the new year. It's probably already gone. That's because you didn't have a plan. That's the one thing about Raleigh Weight Loss Center. They give you a plan to follow. It's clear. It's cut and dry. Follow this plan. You will see results. Plain and simple. I was on the weight loss plan over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I lost over 40 pounds. But most importantly, I maintained the weight that I've lost as well. 40 pounds lost. And I did that over a span of about 3 months thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. And I've actually been thinking as well. I was like, you know what? I got a wedding coming up later on this fall. I want to look good for, the wedding photos and stuff with my fiance. You know what? I want to get back on it. But that's the thing is that I want to continue to lose more weight. I know exactly the plan to follow thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone call. Again, it's a free 15-minute phone call with Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Get in touch with them. You got questions. You got concerns. If you have any health issues, bring that all to the table. Have all those questions answered in that free 15-minute phone call with Raleigh Weight Loss Center. 919-897-7506 or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll be back with the podium. We make our decisions coming up.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Whether you're in school, whether it's in life, you just gotta give it everything you got, and I'm glad I was able to represent that.
The Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month from 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union. To nominate your athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
ESPN presents the NHL Stadium Series in a most unexpected place. A hockey takeover of Tampa, Florida and Raymond James Stadium, where the Boston Bruins collide with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Two teams take their shot at a one-of-a-kind game. The 2026 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. Bruins, Lightning, Sunday, February 1st at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Ehlers gets it across, and he scores! In overtime, Nikolai Ehlers with the game winner from Taylor Hall. What a setup, and the extra point goes to Carolina.
A lot of pressure here on the podium. Wasn't an easy choice this week. Multiple teams feel like they have, or should feel like, they have a claim to this one. We had to make the tough decision. One of them was not tough, though. The way this works is it is a one-week award, so it's over the last week. Going back to last Tuesday's show, everything that's happened since then counts. And we look at men's basketball this time of year. Which ACC team from the state of North Carolina deserves gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal, and off the podium? This is, again, it's a one-week award. Off the podium was easy this week. Wake Forest is off the podium. They lost to SMU, and they lost at Duke, and neither were particularly close. They gave up 91 and 90 points in the two games, scoring 79 and 69. I think it's time we start just acknowledging Wake isn't all that this year, which is frustrating because it's still one of those, like, you know, how does 2 + 2 equal 1.5? Like, it seems like there should be more there, but there's just not, right? The results haven't been there. And now they're almost like they need to win enough to at least be a good win for the teams that play them that are going to be on the bubble. It's unfortunate because, again, I still think there's talent there. Juke Harris could sneak like second team All-ACC despite being on a team that isn't really in the mix, which is impressive in and of itself. But it's kind of, you know, become the story of recent Wake, where they have like one really good scorer, a couple other really good role players, and they're going to finish between 9th and 13th or something like that, which, you know, isn't great. So this week, they're off the podium, 2 losses. Granted, I will say 2 of the better teams in the ACC, SMU and Duke, are
both really good.
Yeah, so could be worse. But that doesn't get you anywhere near the podium this week. Bronze, Duke.
It's a tough one.
So the way this works, just to let you know, I bring up the ACC schedule, which goes in reverse order. So, like, the most recent results are at the top, and I just look down. And when the first thing you see is Duke beating number 20 Louisville by 30, your instinct is, all right, well, they're going to be gold. Let's figure it out. But we had to keep knocking them down for different reasons. They started up at gold, and they ended in bronze. They beat Wake 90-69, and they beat Louisville 83-52. Maybe a few points deduction for both being at home. The Wake win not doing a lot for you as far as, you know, getting you excited compared to some of the other wins that took place in the Triangle or with Triangle teams this week. And then, you know, I've said it a few times, I'm starting to question Louisville's bona fides as like one of the biggest wins you can get in the ACC. So for those reasons, they end up in bronze. And I guess if Duke wanted to spin zone this into something positive, like I do think expectations are high for you, and you know, a 21-point win against Wake Forest doesn't get everybody jacked up.
And you won the game at home. You won
both at home.
Yeah.
And both with like weird travel stuff. Wake Forest, the game got bumped up from 5:45 to noon, which is always easier on the home team, right? You always are a little bit more comfortable for that kind of stuff for home. And then Louisville traveled day of game yesterday, which obviously is more comfortable for Duke at home. So deduct a couple points there as well. Are we splitting hairs? Maybe, but that's what you got to do when three teams are undefeated in the week. Silver, NC State. They won at number 18 Clemson, 80-76 in overtime. And they won at Pitt 81-72. That Clemson win, I think, is going to prove to be a very, very big win this year. Not the least of which being they went into the game without a quad one game or a quad one win. And obviously that gives you like a 1A, right? It being on the road, it being one of the top 20 teams in the country at the time and all of those things. But then the Pitt game was just I kind of brought this up yesterday. I call it like a bring your energy in a suitcase game. Noon, Pitt, bad weather, bottom of the ACC team. That's not a game where you walk in and you can thrive off of like quieting the loud opponent's crowd, or you can get artificial energy from just the buzz in the building. You had to bring it in a suitcase. You had to bring it with you, and they did that, and they fought off some late runs by Pitt and ended up winning by 9. So they get bonus points for the two games being on the road, bonus points for the Clemson game being darn near must win and coming up with the win, and then a little bonus points for bringing their energy in a suitcase to the Pitt game. That's a big week for NC State. And then gold, you can do it by process of elimination if you haven't figured it out already. The Tar Heels, they beat Notre Dame handily, which they desperately needed. And then they won at number 14 UVA, 85-80. That is perhaps the biggest in-conference win in the ACC this year, with it being on the road against a team that's been playing as good as Virginia. So right there, I mean, if you have one of the biggest wins, if not the biggest win in an in-conference game for the ACC this year, like that's a big one. But then you add on the fact that the narrative of it, right, with how good their guards played, with what Derek Dixon is doing, kind of emerging. Henry Vasar did not have his best game by any stretch of the imagination against UVA, and it didn't render them completely no chance, right? They found a way to win the game anyway. That's how you end up gold, right? When it's this close, when you have three teams in the triangle in the ACC that all went 2-0, all beat ranked opponents, you're looking for the things that can differentiate you a little bit. I think UVA is a little bit better than the other two teams that were defeated by triangle teams, and I think UNC did so with a few more narrative boxes checked as far as things we were worried about. And then the fluff. Things like Micah Shrewsbury from Notre Dame saying that in the post-game handshake line, Caleb Wilson's reminding him that Shrewsbury is part of the staff that didn't choose him for the U18 national team back in 2024. And I'm going, I'm a sucker for a story like that. Give me whatever your team's storyline is. Give me like the Disney version of it where there's those moments where speeches, captivate everybody. Give me the miracle version of your team, and I'm gonna fall for you. And it's even better when the opposing team's coach tells the story, right? You didn't have to go call reporters and kind of leak the story yourself, right? The opposing team's coach is telling your myths to the media, which is even better. So UNC, gold medal for this week. And by the way, you would have set odds who was going to be the gold medal going into this week, UNC would have had some long odds there. With how they were playing the previous four, they hadn't even yet turned kind of the corner a little bit in the Notre Dame game. I don't know if many people were expecting the UVA win at this time last week. So credit to them for turning it around a little bit. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The podium has been set, but that doesn't mean we are finished. Dennis, we need a gold star, which is given to, similar to the podium, but it is given to a non-power conference, meaning non-ACC or lower division team here in the state of North Carolina.
All right, so North Carolina had a lot of teams suffer some losses over the last week. A lot of teams split, going 1-1. For example, UNC Wilmington suffered an upset loss to William & Mary, but then bounced back with a win against Hampton. But you puts them at 1-1. You also had some teams like UNC Asheville or High Point only played one game. I know there's some postponements and stuff, but they did pick up some wins. But there was one school, Tim, that picked up wins, multiple wins. Upset win over Hofstra and a big win also as well over Towson. The North Carolina A&T Aggies 2-0 on the week.
Let me
79-78 over Hofstra and 80-73 over Towson in the CAA.
Shout out to, yes, I was completely right. Shout out to Monty Ross. You know what, Coach Ross and I have Monty Ross, the head coach for NCA&T.
Okay.
That's my guy. Do you know why?
Why is that?
He was the basketball coach at Delaware when I was at Delaware.
All right.
When I was student media, and he graciously, I think he was told from his higher-ups, after all of their games, had to give, usually I was the student reporter, like the sideline reporter, a post-game interview on the court after the game. And the reason why Monty Ross is my guy, because he's seen the bad. He's seen the junior year, just got a microphone, don't know what I'm doing in the media world, Tim Donnelly, and he's kept that to himself for the most part. I would like to think he tunes in occasionally and goes, that guy's gotten a lot better from when he used to ask me, so the second half adjustments were good, right? Right after the game. You want to know a fun fact about Coach Ross? College teammate of Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, okay. Winston-Salem State.
Yeah. I think they may have even been roommates. Don't quote me on that, though.
All right.
But he and Stephen A. go way back. So credit to him. 2 wins. Way to go, Coach. I don't recognize anyone else on your coaching staff. Could have brought some of the guys. One of his assistants, now the head coach of VCU, though. Yeah. Fun facts.
Everyone's coming here.
Anybody want fun facts about Monty Ross? I got him. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. My roommate played for him, so I actually, my roommate was on the basketball team there. So
should we ask about the betting scandal?
Ooh, I don't. That's post my time.
I don't know. Do I take the gold star back with these games fixed?
Actually, you know what? The schools that have been named in all those indictments, and all those allegations, are probably the cleanest programs in the country right now. Their analytics are being dived into and combed through closer than anybody. So they're probably they're playing all the way to the whistle as earnestly as possible because they don't want to get mixed up in that.
Yeah, every dollar bet on them is like, wait a second.
If there's an under bet on you, you're like, I have to hit the over. I have to hit the over,
yeah,
or else they're going to accuse me out there balling for your reputation. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Shout out to Coach Ross, though. Me and him go way back. We'll be back after this with Football at 4, where we look at, this is not a joke, perhaps the most important position of the offseason for the Carolina Panthers. Stick around.
Progressive presents a guided meditation.
Hear the birds sing, a chipmunk nibbling on an acorn. Smell the pine needles gently falling into your living room as the breeze blows through the gaping hole in your roof. Gaze up at that broken tree branch and relax, because you bundled your home and auto with Progressive and have the peace of mind of 24/7 protection. So relaxing.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Well, the missus has got a new to-do list for the new year.
Really? What's she up to?
Oh, she's locked in on House of Hops, and I can't blame her. I do love that place. Easy to relax, variety of food trucks, And a new selection of those THC drinks I'm digging on. My mama's a wine drinker, and their wine list is only matched by their huge craft beer selection.
Well, you're lucky. My love has honed in on Che Empanadas. I bet we've ordered takeout from there at least 17 times. Good stuff, brother.
Che Empanadas? The one by Sharky's?
Yes, sir.
Hard to drive by that place without pulling in and ordering something. Authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they're all incredible.
Wait, surely y'all are including salt and lime.
Oh, hell yeah. The missus has fallen in love with that place. And to tell you the truth, it's one of my favorites too. Every meal we have there is scrumptious.
Scrumptious?
Yeah, scrumptious.
You got that right. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, and Salt and Lime. Outstandingly scrumptious. Off Glenwood and Durley Road.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Sunny but breezy this afternoon. Cold out there, a high temperature of 39, but it'll feel like 20s with the wind chill for most of the day. It's another cold night tonight. We drop down to 20 degrees under clear skies, and that cold air is not going anywhere anytime soon. Sunny skies, but tomorrow's high only 37.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 407 points to 49,004.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for football at 4. And I'm not playing around. I don't know why I keep saying that about this. This position group that we're about to break down is so important that I have the involuntary need to just keep letting you know that I'm not joking and I'm not playing around. I just want to keep going. Not a joke. This is the most important position of the offseason, and I'm not playing around here.
Keeping it real.
We're being exactly. I'm keeping it real. True story. Just why do you keep telling us you're not lying to us? You could argue this position is the reason this entire exercise exists. This series that we're doing, where we're going position by position through the Panthers roster and assigning a out of 100 score and trying to measure how much the front office improves each position between now and training camp, between now and the first game. You could argue all of it is for this one position here. We're talking edge rushers. We're talking the guys that need to get after the quarterback. We're talking the position that I hope has the greatest improvement from now to whenever we finish this up, either right before training camp, during training camp, whatever. Edge rushers, my out of 100 score, I'm giving a 50. 5-0 out of 100.
Straight 50.
Straight 50.
Okay, this might be the lowest of all the groups so far.
We had the lowest was off-ball linebackers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Take that back.
But this is the next. Right now, for like serious contracts, right? And there's, futures contracts and guys at the end of the bench. But for serious contracts, it's Pat Jones, who's coming off a major injury, missed most of really all of the second half of the season and some.
Only played 4 games.
Nick Scorton and Princely Umanmielen. DJ Wanham has some void years, but they're void, so that doesn't count. That's really it. That's what you got. So obviously that's not enough to go into next year, but it's more than just filling bodies in, right? It's more than just grabbing, some run-of-the-mill replacement-level veterans or some mid-round rookies that can rotate in when those guys get tired. This is not an exaggeration. There are, by multiple metrics, the Panthers had the worst pass rush in the NFL last year. They got the worst amount of pressure, hurries, whatever. There's by so many different advanced analytics and grades and everything else, they were the worst team at getting after the quarterback.
31st in pressure rate in the NFL.
And only worse was the New York Jets. And guess what? The Jets were one of the few teams that were behind more than the Panthers. So, less pass, pin your ears back situations. That's not great. That's not good. So this is the position I would spend the most on. Or not even the most, like as far as just raw totals, but this is where I'm going for the big spend, the top shelf, right? This is the one where, you have a gift card. I'm going to get one big thing and 3 little things. The big thing is going to be the edge rusher. Edge rushers for Carolina need to be better for a lot of reasons, but one of them could also contribute to the low pressure rate that Dennis was talking about. Evero, as a defensive coordinator, doesn't blitz often, right? It's kind of part of his ethos, part of his theory that you keep everything in front of you and you let them make mistakes. Right? You don't have to bring exotic blitzes. You don't have to be too risky. You can just kind of do what you do, just like Novocaine, give it time, always works. But to pull that off and still get pressure, you need to have one of those guys that doesn't need to be schemed up to get home, that doesn't need to have extras, that can just look at the people in front of them and beat them. And it's part of the reason why I'm less regretful or less reminiscent, nostalgic when you see like Brian Burns having a good season with the Giants, or somebody like Caleb Chasson who didn't even really make it on the field for Carolina, having a good season. I believe he's with New England at like 7.5 sacks. I'm not as nostalgic for those because, yeah, Brian Burns had a great year. You know what else Brian Burns had? Dexter Lawrence in the middle. He had Kayvon Thibodeau. He had Abdul Carter on the other side in many cases. And that's a different beast than what he was dealing with here. Even with Derek Brown, right? The other edge rusher wasn't drawing as much attention. And it's one thing to be able to, get double-digit sacks, get 15 sacks, whatever it is, with everyone on your defensive front being a threat and with a more creative DC and all of these other things, versus what you're asked to do when you're the Panthers dude. The Panthers dude is asked, we're not giving you any tricks, right? There's going to be no smoke and mirrors sacks for you. What we need you to do is line up on the edge, beat your guy, and get after the quarterback. And in some cases, line up on the edge, beat your guy and the other guy they're using to double team you, and get after the quarterback. Caleb Chasson with Vrabel's defensive style up there in New England, it's not apples to apples with what was going on here in Carolina. Now, the bummer of it, if there is a bummer, right, the cold glass of water to the face is those kind of dudes that are not cheap, right? It's like saying, we're one lefty starter that can give us 250 innings of, 2 ERA away from a championship. It's like, yeah, well, go find one of those. It's not easy to find one of those. It's not. Now, I know what's going to happen here. You start talking about big spend. You start talking about going top shelf. You start talking about edge rushers that can win one-on-ones and high motor and can beat double teams. And what does everybody's mind do? I bet your mind is doing it right now. Max Crosby, right? That's
Trey Hendrickson.
I think Trey Hendrickson's a little bit of a different beast, but yeah,
Trey Hendrickson thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
though.
Trey Hendrickson, he's led the league in sacks. He has multiple, 17 sack seasons. Crosby has as far as pressures and quarterback hurries and everything, it's unbelievably elite, and he's done so on a team that was similar to the Panthers in that they weren't ahead in many games. So quite often you are not given those super obvious sack opportunities where they have to drop back and hold on to it and push it downfield. I can't talk, and we're going back to a Canes conversation that I have seemingly every day with somebody. I can't tell you whether I would like to have Max Crosby or not without knowing the price in a trade, right? I can't. If it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, I don't think you're ready to give up all of that at this part of your roster building. But yeah, I'm not going to be an idiot and say he wouldn't be, quite frankly, exactly what you're looking for. Trey Hendrickson, when he is good, which you have to factor in because he's probably looking to cash out with a pretty big, pretty long-term contract, and he is in his 30s, and he's coming off a year that he was injured. But when he is good, he would fit in pretty darn close to what you're looking for. By the way, That is what you're looking for. The other option, and this would be the only case I would even entertain a trade up if I'm the Carolina Panthers in the draft, is if Dan Morgan and every single one of his scouts, Brant Tillis and every single one of his analytics, the calculator-wielding gurus, Dave Canales and every single one of his coaches are in that team meeting room and darn near unanimously love a particular pass rusher, whether it's Arvell Reese from Ohio State, Ruben Bain from Miami, whoever, and that player starts to fall a little bit in the draft, right? So if your guy who you love, who you dream of, who you close your eyes at night and you imagine wearing a Panthers jersey, not a roster, that'd be weird. If they fall to like 10th, and you think you can use some of your draft capital and the 19th pick to go up and get him, I think that could be another way to acquire that dude. But it has to be one of those situations where all hands on deck, everybody is invested in making that player reach their potential. I have a feeling, and this is it probably comes down to your own, whether you're risk averse or whether you're inclined to take big swings. But I have a feeling if the Panthers increase edge rusher as much as we all hope they will this offseason, the way they acquire that edge rusher will make us all a bit queasy. Right? And I actually think a lot of the best trades or the best free agency signings or whatever in sports history, I think their fans with 2020 hindsight say, I was always on board. But if you go look at those reactions, that feels like a little bit of an overpay. I'm not saying I'll have the foresight, or I'm not even saying I'm going to come back and listen to this conversation if they make the move and go, I said we were going to be queasy. But like if they trade for Max Crosby, I almost guarantee that I'd be sitting here going, that feels like too much. And the only way you'll know if it's too much is if he goes on to have a 18 sack season or not, or 3 of them, depending on the money you're paying him.
If you're picking at 19, you're probably looking at maybe Akeem Mesidor, Cassius Howell, and you're probably not going to get Ruben Bain to fall down to you. Keldrick Falk, I doubt will fall to you. David Bailey ain't going to drop to you.
But the thing is, Akeem Mesidor, obviously I think he might even be a better college pass rusher than Ruben Bain, but is he 25? I think I saw by the draft he'll be 25. I know he did like 3 years elsewhere, and now he's on like 4 at Miami.
Yeah, he's at 6 years of college.
So that's a tough one. But you got to look around. And edge rusher is one of those positions where it doesn't happen like this that often. But if you throw Bailey, you throw Reese, you throw Bain, you throw 1 or 2 others if you love them, there's a world where there's just not, 5 teams that feel it's worth the top pick this year based on their roster to go get an edge rusher. It doesn't happen as often with edge. Sometimes you see it with other positions. But they don't have to fall to 19. Again, it's the only chance, the only entertaining possible option, because I think it's that important that this team gets a dude at edge, is if you think you got one of those ones and they're tumbling a bit. If you think there are examples. What was J.J. Watt, the 11th pick? T.J. Watt was at the end of
He was 30th.
Like, if you see something like that and you love him, you absolutely love him, maybe. I'll still be queasy about it, but maybe, because I think it's that important that they go into next year with a significantly better pass rush.
I think they draft someone, and I think they probably won't go top end to go make a spend on Max Crosby or something along those lines. That's just going to cost too much. But I wouldn't be surprised if you kind of go to that next tier of free agent guy.
Because Pat Jones, some of the advanced analytics liked him in the 4 games he played, and he's 5th tier free agent pass rusher. 2nd, 3rd tier, and you take a chance on somebody in the draft middle rounds. Right? Like I hope that's good enough. But I just think it's that important that their pass rush is significantly better next year. And also I want to leave room for Scorton and Umanmielen to just individually improve, right? Come back second year. They, I don't know if it's a cliche or proven by analytics. People say that the biggest improvement in your career is from year 1 to year 2. And in college, it's from freshman year to sophomore year. So perhaps there's a world where those two get better. You add a guy in the draft. You bring in a second or third tier guy in free agency. And you jump up significantly in all the pass rush and pressure statistics. I just worry that if, you aim for, bringing in 3 6 out of 10s rather than 1 10 out of 10, you're just going to have a lot of guys that are still asked in the way Evero calls a defense. You got to go win your individual matchups. And you just have a lot of guys that are pretty good, but nobody's winning their individual matchups. I think you might need one special. And we'll see if it's available, right? That's one of those things that, goalies, edge rushers, 3-and-D wings, like they're not always available out there if you want them. So maybe I'll completely admit, right? Maybe I'm, pipe dream. This is just not possible. But goodness gracious, am I hoping? That's what the beginning of the offseason is for, right? Just hoping and wishing. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. You know what that sounds like? Mortgage rates, right? Hoping and wishing. Oh, I hope when we need a house, the mortgage rates will be low. Oh, I hope they go back down to 2021 rates. Oh, I hope. Hope. Somebody told us, it's one of my favorite quotes, but somebody said it to us in the office the other day. Hope's not a strategy. You can sit there and hope that rates go down, or you can call up Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Get hooked up with a no-cost loan on your mortgage and still hope for rates to go down, but be prepared to take advantage of them, right, and not have to wait. Rather than sitting around hoping, be proactive. The no-closing cost loan means you don't have to buy down those rates, right? You don't got to go pay thousands and thousands of dollars at closing to buy down your rate to something that's more palatable over 30 years when you do the math. And instead, you get no closing costs, so you save all that money out of your pocket, right? That might help you sustain a slightly higher monthly payment than you were hoping. And if or when rates drop in 2 months, a year, 18 months, whatever, refinance with Miller Lending, again, a no-cost loan to keep all that money in your pocket, and you just get the lower monthly payment. If you got a deal with Miller Lending 2 years ago on a no-cost mortgage, you've probably refinanced twice by now, lowered your payment 2 times, and again, kept all that extra buy-down-the-rate money right there in your pocket. The number to call to learn more, to ask questions, it's a no-obligation call, is 919-447-3377. One more time, 919-447-3377, or visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We will take a break. When we come back, Copper Drop, and somebody gets to live the dream. I'll tell you who next.
Finally. Yes, finally. There's an app for 99.9 The Fan. Finally! Listen to your favorite hosts, your teams, and live sports action.
Touchdown, Philadelphia! They are destroying the Chiefs!
And every podcast episode at your fingertips, anytime, anywhere. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today. Powered by Aspire Money Management.
Hi, Greg Talbot with Strategic Tax Resolution. Tax enforcement and defense strategies have changed a lot over the last year. After nearly 5 years, the IRS has restarted automated collections. You could be next for bank levies and wage garnishments. Ignoring the issue is not an option. Call 984-272-2600 to get protected. Do you have unfiled returns or tax debt? We work directly with the IRS and states so you don't have to. Let us use our proven strategies and experience with the IRS and state to resolve your tax issue. Qualified clients have cut their tax debt by more than 90%. How would that feel? Act now to learn the latest updates to tax relief programs. Your eligibility may not be the same. Strategic Tax Resolution. Local, trusted, A+ rated by the BBB. Call 984-272-2600. Ask for me, Greg Talbot. 984-272-2600. You've got a guy on your side. StrategicTaxResolution.com. Get relief.
Save more on the brands pros trust at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances and choose from our wide lineup of top brands. Plus, save $100 on a Little Giant 22-foot multi-position ladder. Now just $189. Built for strength, flexibility, and job site versatility. Pros, these savings will only be here for a limited time. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 1/30 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
From the 9, snap Bailey, handoff Smothers, breaks a tackle now at the 5, makes a cut up the middle, touchdown! Hollywood Smothers scores again!
Hollywood's really a playmaker for us, but then the stuff he's doing to get extra yards, making guys miss, running through contact, catching the football.
Remember when Hollywood Smothers was on NC State and Dave Doran was talking about him like that?
I know.
He's with Texas now. Was with Alabama for 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Little pit stop there. Committed to Alabama out of the portal. But NC State is grabbing guys out of the portal as well. The portal giveth and the portal taketh away. We'll get to that in a second. Before we get to Copper Drop even, which is coming up momentarily, there's something pretty awesome going on tonight.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Canes Corner with Brandon Bussey.
Let's go.
Brandon Bussey probably has as close to universal approval, like 100% approval rating amongst Canes fans right now. And I don't think Canes fans are unusual in this. I think this is every fan base. Nobody has 100% approval rating, right? Everybody has their supporters and their detractors, and some people are never happy, and some people are stans of certain players. So no matter what they do or how bad they play, they're always going to be in love with. So you don't even get a 0% approval rating. But for Brandon Bussey right now, like honeymoon period is still just so over the top. He showed up. He came out of nowhere. And he's won pretty darn consistently. 19-3-1 in the early part of his career. He said all the right things. He appears appreciative, which fans always like, excited to be there, loving going to work, fits in with the guys, and is going to come on Canes Corner tonight, which you can hear here on 99.9 The Fan. You can listen to it on the 99.9 The Fan app. You can also check the live stream on our 99.9 The Fan YouTube channel, or you could stop by the local and probably have to be getting there pretty soon if you want a place, because it'll fill up. You can see it in person. But Mike Maniscalco, voice of the Canes, will sit down for about an hour with Brandon Bussey and chop it up, right? Try to get to know the guy beneath the goalie pads and see what kind of his story is. So Brandon Bussey, Canes Corner tonight, should be really fun. Obviously we'll be talking about it because he's one of the most important Canes this season, and we don't know a ton about him. We know he's from Long Island. We know he spent a lot of time in the AHL. They claimed him off waivers. Bigger dude, and Henrik Lundqvist was his guy growing up. We learned that a couple nights ago. That's what we're looking for. We'll learn more about Bussey. 99.9 The Fan tonight, 7 o'clock. Don't know if I said the time. Now that you've been reminded about that, let's play a game of Copper Drop.
You want true enlightenment? Well, I'm dropping.
All right, Tim, speaking of the Carolina Hurricanes, cop or drop, roster freeze comes up on February 4th, which is just a week from tomorrow, Tim. Cop or drop, Canes make a trade before the roster freeze on Wednesday next week.
See, I've gotten this question right once already. Because they traded a pick for a player and a better pick.
Yeah.
By the way, that player is a injured ECHL player because Eric Tolsky is involved in everything.
Yeah, I'm not talking Gavin Bayruther for a prospect. I'm not talking minor league deals.
Hey, the Bayruther deal, I know Bayruther was AHL defenseman. Did get a cup of coffee with the big league club when they were all injured.
Yeah, but he didn't even actually play a game. He just sat up top.
Yeah, just got called up, got that adrenaline rush. But Bayruther's like 30-something years old, right?
31.
And they traded him for a forward who's, 22?
Something like that, 23.
So, hey, if you don't have plans for Bayruther, resetting the clock a little bit on the lotto ticket and going from the 30s to the early 20s, that's good business right there. I'm not hating on that trade at all. So are you saying a trade involving either...
Talking an NHL trade here.
Yeah, but are we including top 5-round picks, something like that? Top 4-round picks, top 3-round picks?
Something that involves their NHL roster, whether trading a player on it or a player that comes back that will be on your NHL roster. I'm not talking minor league moves, Tim. Okay. I'm talking real NHL moves.
I just want to make sure.
I know.
I want to make sure.
Around.
1 week.
1 week from tomorrow.
I'll drop it. Here's how I see things happening, okay? This is me, my crystal ball. I watched Space Jam with my son on Saturday, right? When we had to be inside before all the games got started. And they go to the psychic, and she's weirdly accurate, and they laugh her out of the place. He's like, I see Michael Jordan and little aliens and Bugs Bunny. And they're like, all right, lady. This is me giving the same vibes to you. I think they get behind closed doors. We'll never know if it's true or not. They get to the 1 yard line on a trade before the roster freeze, and somebody tries to call Tulsky's bluff. Tulsky's like, we'll wait. I'm fine. And they're like, no, throw in another third and it's done. And he's like, no, we'll wait. And Tulsky's a negotiating gangster. And he says, no, we'll wait. And they go into the roster freeze without the deal. But during the roster freeze, they rekindle, right? Hey, what are you doing? You thinking of me? Thinking of the trade? And shortly after the roster freeze, a fairly large deal gets done. A deal that makes you go, ooh, is finished up shortly after the freeze because, that team didn't expect Tulsky to actually walk away before the roster freeze. And once they did, they went, ooh, we better not lose him. He's on the line. Let's get him back. And they go, fine, we don't need the third or whatever it is. And they get the deal done.
Okay. So you're dropping
I'm dropping before the roster freeze, but the seed will be planted before the roster freeze.
Okay, next one up here. Cop or drop? Stick with the Carolina Hurricanes. Cop or drop? They trade for a goaltender. Cop or drop?
I'm dropping. Okay. I'm dropping. By the way, shout out to Corey Lavalette. Got a great interview with Eric Tulsky. You can go check it out on all his socials and everything. Now, obviously, smokescreen season, right? Eric Tulsky could be pulling a fast one on us, could be straight up lying. And, he's not under oath talking to Corey Lavalette. That's not a deposition of any kind. Testimony. But he did seem pretty enthusiastically like, no, our goaltenders are fine. And he advocated aggressively for Freddie Anderson not being as bad as maybe, I think he called them his NHL.com stats would say. If this is true, and I don't have no reason to think Tulsky was lying, it's one of the crazier stats. In Freddie Anderson's December starts, Canes skaters had more goals on their own goal off their own skates and things than they did in the other goal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe Freddie wasn't as bad. I don't know. Or maybe he's just really selling it to us because he wants to keep him around and he wants to give him a chance to be a big part of this team. But I did not get the vibes that goaltender was high on his list. Although I do think some of the other stuff was smoke screening. I do think he was trying to make it seem like he's not going to be as aggressive as he will be for maybe a forward or the like.
Cop or drop? We hear about a Brandon Bussey contract extension before the Olympics. Cop or drop?
Before the Olympics?
Yeah.
I'm dropping. How many? They got, 5 games before the Olympic break?
5 or 6, yeah.
So what's that, another 3 or 4 more starts for him? I think it's good to get a little reset, right? And they'll take a break. And the roster freeze, does that mean I know you can't make roster additions and trades or whatever. Can you not sign guys?
Yeah, you can still sign guys.
So I would expect a little cool down, little break. They get it done during the Olympics.
Okay, let's actually go to the gridiron. Let's go to the Carolina Panthers. Cop or drop? That the Carolina Panthers draft an edge rusher in the first round. Cop or drop? No, we just had that conversation, but I'm making you put stamp on it.
Yeah.
Now, that could be trade back, still draft one, trade up, but still in the first round.
In the first round. It's so tough to know. 19, like we talked about this last year with 8. Pick 8 is a reactionary pick, right? If you're in the top 5, I think you can probably guess, right? You have a pretty good idea of how it's going to go. You get to 8, it's like, all right, we need to have contingency plans. 19 is like, write down nothing in pen. We have to be fully adjusting every pick made as the board falls in front of them. I think there are, and this is very early in my research, 4 or 5 edge rushers that I think would make sense at 19. And if one of those are there, I'm like, smash, let's roll. If they're not, I don't want to force it, right? I don't think you go into 19 with like a position or bust. So I'm going to drop it for this reason. And I'm leaning on some reports and analysts kind of dissections here a little bit. Everyone keeps telling me this isn't the most talented roster, right? Bit of a down draft. There's Mendoza at the top. There's some depth at edge rusher and wide receiver. Jeremiah Love is seen as a very good running back. Not a ton of corners, not a ton of quarterbacks, not a ton of offensive linemen. When that happens, I do think there's a rush on just premium positions earlier. Because they say, if we can't get a great player, let's get a player who plays an important position. Because that kind of justifies it being a high pick. I think that means edge rushers are going to go quickly. I hope they fall. Don't get me wrong. I think it would be huge for Carolina if they can get a guy they love later in the draft, later in the round. But as of right now, with obviously knowing it's January, the Super Bowl hasn't been played, and the draft's not until April, I think there could be a rush on edge rushers because it's a deeper edge rusher draft and it's a premium position in a weak draft. So that obviously doesn't bode well if Panthers want one at 19. So I'm dropping.
All right. Cop or drop? The Carolina Panthers drafted an offensive tackle in the first 2 rounds. Cop or drop?
Yeah, I'm copping. If you give me the top 2, it's unfortunate, man. Wally Pipp is a cliche for a reason. Ike Ekwonu's injury is really tough to deal with because of all accounts, like all the medical experts are saying this is not an easy one to come back from. Ike is a giant human who's very explosive, very powerful, and that makes it difficult to depend that he's just going to be like the same guy very quickly. And he plays a position where you can't have 70%, right? You need to have a guy that's a stud. So hear me out on this as a kind of everybody's cool with this kind of move. You do your best to draft your left tackle again, which is a bummer, or bring in your left tackle, whatever, like you acquire your left tackle. And your expectation is Icky, if he sticks with the team, eventually replaces Moton at right tackle.
Okay.
Because that contract could be coming up right about when Icky is close to, if not 100%, after a year, maybe 2 years of working his way back in. So yeah, I think left tackle became a priority the moment he got hurt, which is not fun for anybody. I'm seeing there's 2. There's Maui Goa from Miami, and there's one other who I'm blanking on, who is seen as like a legit first-round value. Doubt either they're at 19, so maybe they love another, or perhaps one falls a bit to the second round.
Spencer Fano.
That's exactly
from
who it
Utah.
is. Yep, that's exactly who it is.
And also even Caleb Lomu from Utah also has a first-round grade.
I've seen, again, and this is not my own research. I'm co-opting from other analysts. That Maui Goa and Fano are it's a tier of 2 at the top.
All right, a couple more here real quick. Let's go college football. Darian Mensah, former Duke quarterback, reportedly already landed in Miami for his visit. Cop or drop? Darian Mensah takes Miami to the college football playoff in 2026. Cop or drop?
I haven't looked at Miami's schedule. I know they play Duke. I know they play UNC. I don't know what their non-conference is looking like. I don't know.
I can pull it up for you real fast. So they got to go to Stanford. They also are home against Florida FAMU. They also got to play at Wake, Central Michigan, Clemson, Florida State, Pitt, Carolina, Notre Dame, Duke, Virginia Tech, Boston College. So not really a tough gauntlet.
Goodness gracious. Yeah. So yeah, they go to the CFP. That's as much schedule, but also like you saw what they did to Darian Mensah.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing by different rules than everybody else. They better have a great roster. They brought in a bunch of talent. They kept a bunch of talent. I saw. This is what's frustrating. There's a reporter down there, and I don't know his name, and I don't want to put him on blast. But he was big on the Darian Mensah reporting, and it was always, a heavy Miami slant. Like, I don't know why Duke is, or a Miami player hits the portal. And the reporting is, and you'll notice Miami is not keeping them hostage. It's like, well, they didn't sign a multi-year deal. You don't know. You're tilting the news. Be better than that. But they listed all of these players that are on Miami's roster, and they included Mensah and Barkate, and said, Miami is just a talent-producing machine. And talent-producing irked me in an aggressive way. I'm going, what you just did was you went to a restaurant, you bought a meal, and you called yourself a good chef. Like, you're not producing the talent, you're buying the talent, which, hey, more power to you, right? Like, if you can do it, good for you. But don't take credit for the development of the players. Don't take credit for producing the talent. You bought it, which it's fine, right? Like, if you're not good with your hands, don't build a table. You know what I mean? Buy it. But then don't turn around and go, look at my craftsmanship. Miami's going to have a very talented roster, and based on that schedule, unless there's something significantly unforeseen, they'll likely be in the CFP.
Okay, one final question here revolving college football. Speaking of the ACC, quarterbacks. Copper drop. CJ Bailey, first team All-ACC in 2026. Copper drop.
Because you know who his main competition's going to be.
Main Mensah?
Yeah. And there are others as well. Don't get me wrong.
No Haynes King anymore.
No Haynes
Carson
King.
Beck.
No Carson Beck.
I'm sure there's a guy at Louisville that throws the ball well.
Watch out for Jaren Chiave Sagapolutele.
Him too.
Out there at Cal. There's some options. There's some options. Do we have the audio of let's cut this real quick. If we don't, I can just
so it's a
read the quote. Is he going to be all first team?
Yeah.
I think it's smart to take the field. I'm going to drop it.
Okay. I do have that Jimbo Fisher card.
All right, perfect. By the way, I'm not dropping it because he might be, and I haven't, I'd have to look at who's kind of the projected starter everywhere. He might be my most likely choice to be all ACC. Do not get it twisted. I just think when it comes to those end of the season awards, if it's one guy versus the field, it's usually better to take everyone else's chances than the one guy. So I'm going to drop it, but I'm intrigued by what CJ Bailey does. And that's in addition, like JoJo Trader, his high school wide receiver that went to Miami out of high school, 4-star. I believe he was the 14th wide receiver in the country, according to 247 Sports. 70th overall player coming out of high school, seen as a 3-star transfer. Just committed to NC State out of the portal. That is him putting his fingerprints further on the program. Him electing to stay when Hollywood Smothers and Noah Rogers and Terrell Anderson and Jacarius Peak all left in the transfer portal is him putting his fingerprints further on the program. So I'm giving him a lot of credit, right? And actually, I'm not hearing enough love from the old school college watchdogs, I don't know what you want to call them, the people that long for the days of the 1980s when players played for the right reasons, and it wasn't all about who has the best Lamborghini. And it wasn't all about who has the most NIL revenue share collective cash to put in your pocket. It was about the love of the game and loyalty. It was about playing for your brothers, singing the alma mater. I don't know if you are that person, I'm kind of characterizing it or stereotyping it. You should love CJ Bailey. There's no doubt in my mind, without knowing the actual behind-the-scenes numbers and offers and everything, there's no doubt in my mind CJ Bailey could make more money by hitting the portal and going elsewhere. There's no doubt in my mind if teams were calling and tampering with Darian Mensah, they were likely doing the same thing with CJ Bailey. Like, let's read between the lines here. And he stayed loyal to the school that took him out of college, or took him out of high school, I should say. Right? He has shown a skill set that is very, very valuable on the open market, and he's still at State, going into his third year. If you want to have players act the way they did in the 1990s, then in the 1900s, to make it sound even longer ago, then yeah, you should be supporting guys like CJ Bailey, who chose loyalty and chose the team that gave him the first chance and helped develop him. Like, that's the guy you should be leaning on. This series that we're doing. I scared myself. I want to be clear, that was a joke, whoa. I was not actually afraid. Just, keep my strength. Keep my rep in the streets. I don't have a rep. But CJ Bailey is the guy that chose everything that you want players to value. And if you don't think I'm joking, or if you think I'm joking about like how lucrative his skill set is seen, Jimbo Fisher has a national championship as a head coach. He was on with the ACC network, and he talked about CJ Bailey and basically how good he is regardless of NC State's roster. This is what Jimbo said.
I'm like you, Eric, and anytime you got CJ Bailey, you got a chance. And we were talking about Darian Mensah being the first pick of the draft. It's not unforeseen to see this guy be the first pick of the draft. Very rarely. You always worry about quarterbacks sometimes getting too big. He's 6'7", but he runs like he's 6'1". He moves around. The ball comes out. He's twitchy. He's fast. He's not long. He's not slow as far as not running, but the ball getting out too. He's not too elongated. This guy is just getting better and better and better. And you can't put a price tag on the size and the vision that this guy can have. And then you add mobility to that. This guy is an extremely dangerous player and one of the best players in all of America. And one of my favorite guys to go watch. I'm like,
one of the best players in all of America. And I'll second what Jimbo said there at the end. One of my favorite players to go and watch. I'm a quarterback nerd. I love watching tape, and I love seeing the decision making process. I also just love a guy that can occasionally just rev it up, right? Like when he runs, it's unusual looking because of his height, but because of his agility. He spins it well. I wouldn't say he has the strongest arm in the world, but when he's in a groove, he's as accurate as anybody. And yeah, he's 6'6". He's 6'6". I see the NFL moving more towards traditional, I want 6'5", laser rocket arm. I think they became infatuated with the analytics saying height doesn't matter, and you ended up with kind of a generation of smaller quarterbacks. But now I think they're going to – it seems like they're already shading back the other way. Bailey fits that a bit more than some other guys across college. And then he brings in JoJo Trader, his guy, and you realize, okay, that's the loyalty being reciprocated. And maybe whether CJ Bailey was the quarterback or not, State would have been all over Trader. Maybe. But it does seem like, hey, you know what? You didn't test the waters. You didn't go in the transfer portal. You chose to be loyal. Let's do you a solid and go get one of your guys and bring them in here and let you guys build that chemistry you had in high school. That's solid on both sides. By the way, speaking of quarterback's height, did you see Pavia?
Yeah, 5'9" and 7/8.
Listed at 6 foot at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
5'9" and 7/8 at the Senior Bowl. Castellanos was also under 5'10".
Oh, yeah, I believe that.
That's a big difference.
Oh, no, Bryce Young was listed at 6 foot at Alabama. He's, 5'10" and an eighth.
5'10" and an eighth.
I've stood next to Bryce. I'm 5'10", and we see dead eye to eye. I'm like, yep, you're 5'10".
But even what was it? Pavia was 197. Even Bryce at the combine got up to 204.
Yeah,
I don't think he plays there.
No, he doesn't.
But Pavia had to know it was coming. Like he had to know he was going to have to step on a scale. 197 probably ain't what he is. That's crazy. He was like, his personality rubbed some people the wrong way. The way he handled the lawsuits for eligibility and everything, and some social media posts. He was pretty good in the SEC. He was 5'9" and change and 190 pounds. That's pretty impressive. I don't think it'll matter to NFL evaluators, but I think they'll write him off because he's too small.
Yeah,
they won't go like, oh, he's pretty impressive. But still, pretty impressive. That guy should open up a steakhouse in Nashville near Vanderbilt's campus. Pavia's. It works, and you can print money.
It's not, yeah.
I'm telling you, everyone that ever wins a Heisman, I'm like, the fact that they don't have a steakhouse nearby that coaches bring recruits to, and you have that relationship, like, oh, we're going to Tebow's. Oh, we're going to Burroughs down there near the French Quarter, wherever the heck's going on. I guess it's Baton Rouge, not New Orleans. But still, I want that to be my business. I want to go just Heisman restaurants. And then I just go in and say, can we use your name? We're going to put it right in the middle of Main Street in your college town, and we are going to print money, and you'll get a cut.
It's not a bad idea, actually.
I know.
Especially nowadays with NIL. These guys can probably own and operate it themselves.
Well, yeah, you're right. We can do it while they're in college.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I was thinking after they won like a Heisman or a national championship. Go to the guys that don't have NFL futures. Like if right after Eric Crouch won the Heisman for Nebraska, In Lincoln, Nebraska, you just opened up Crouches, and you just had a good ECs, something.
Yeah.
Eric Crouches, something, and you just put it there, like it would be huge.
Like a Tebow's Steakhouse down there in Gainesville?
Gainesville Tebow's? Come on. And you walk in, and it's like
once a week you walk in?
It's nice, it's solid, but like there's jerseys. Like it looks like a steakhouse, but there's jerseys on the wall.
Yeah.
Like there's all that stuff. I'm just telling you, it would do well. If you go to if you drive around Florida, you see like Marinos, you see Jimmy Johnson's, you see like all that kind of stuff, and it works.
Yeah.
All you needed is a lot of capital and somebody that knows how to run a restaurant, which I have neither of. But ideas, I can be the matchmaker.
Be the ideas guy. Just the ideas guy.
I'm just the ideas guy. You had Rivers somewhere near the ACC or the NC State campus.
Oh yeah,
it's right there for the taking. JJ's somewhere in Durham around Duke's campus. Little JJ Redick action. It doesn't have to be football. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan.
MJ's Bistro.
Now, I mean, Michael Jordan did. I think he did have.
I think he did.
He had restaurants. But I almost think MJ's. He's too national. He can do that.
That's true.
He can do that in any place. Like in Chapel Hill, if you did Hands Bros.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, there's a lot of options. Antoine's, Stackhouse's Steakhouse. Come on.
Actually, Stackhouse pancakes.
Yeah, exactly. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It could work. That's all I'm saying. Before we move on, Dennis, you have something you want to tell everybody?
I do. It's not about pancakes, but Dennis Cox here from my good friends over at Law Tigers. I love pancakes. That's a fact. I also love riding my motorcycle. That's also a fact as well. Obviously not riding out in these weather conditions and stuff right now, but I'm looking forward to the springtime, summer, even in the fall, getting out on two wheels and riding around once again. And I want you all to be out there on the roads with me. Obviously, being safe out there on the road is the most important thing. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, make sure you call Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you contact your insurance company. Law Tigers, they're part of the motorcycle riding community. They know what your bike and your gear are worth, but most importantly, they understand the dangers of the road and what it's like to go through an accident. That's why your case evaluation is always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. So again, if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Maybe you got injured in an accident at some point in 2025, and the insurance company just isn't doing everything that you need them to do. Still give Law Tigers a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, or visit lawtigers.com. Again, case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan gets to a feedback frenzy. We hear from many of you from the internet. Next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
It was a one-team market for Sam Darnold. The team that he won 14 games with last year didn't want him. The other teams around the National Football League, none of them really wanted him. Seattle paid him, but if you look at the structure of that contract, it really is a year-to-year proposition. And they were rewarded for taking a chance on Sam Darnold with him taking them to the Super Bowl.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $6.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. And there's no time like now to stop what you're doing and join with the K-Yow Cancer Fund in the fight against all cancers affecting women. I'm Jenny Palmentier, CEO of the K-Yow Cancer Fund. From now through January 31st, Triangle Area Bojangles will donate all proceeds from Bowberry biscuit sales to the K-Yow Cancer Fund. Just buy a Bowberry, do some good, and get something good. So what are you waiting for? Hurry, it's bow time.
Canes hockey is back, and there's nothing more refreshing than an ice-cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your Canes on the ice. Surfside is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. It's not a seltzer, it's Surfside, official hard tea and lemonade of the Carolina Hurricanes. Sold in arena and at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
In on Swayman. Hall waits, and he scores! Taylor Hall with the beauty!
I just tried to get it to the middle of the ice and see what was there. I've been working on that push move a little bit, and it was a good move. I was kind of flying through the air as I scored, so it was fun.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We do this occasionally on Tuesdays, always on Thursdays, but we feel like we haven't heard enough from you all. We want your opinions. We break it on out one extra time, and that's what we're going to do now. It's time for a feedback frenzy. Dennis, what do you got?
During Copper Drop, we actually had a little talk about Carolina Hurricanes and potential moves and all those kinds of things during Copper Drop just a little bit ago. But this one actually comes from our YouTube live chat. This one comes from D. Ely. The Canes.
D. Ely. This is Ryan Suzuki's biggest fan.
This is Ryan Suzuki's biggest fan. The Canes need a Kane, Evander Kane. Cheap and adds a ton of grit. Also has some skill and some power play skill as well.
How cheap is Evander Kane?
So Evander Kane, I know the Vancouver Canucks, this is according to Dave Pagnotta of the fourth period, said that the Canucks are open to moving Evander Kane. I think they're going to allow the agent to maybe help facilitate something as well. But they're looking, he's in the final year of his contract, making like $5.25 million. But they're looking just for either a prospect and or pick for Evander Kane. 34 years old, talking 6'3", 215, 216, something along those lines.
Coming from,
and he can still contribute on the power play as well. But you want to talk about a dude that's not afraid to throw his weight around?
True. I don't want to say no because obviously everything comes down to the price. Mm-hmm. I think there are likely more exciting options out there. But if you miss on your big swings, there's other. There are options out there, which is what I like about like the Evander Kane stuff. Some talks about the Rangers selling, some talks about St. Louis selling, some talks about a few selling. I was actually worried that the Canes were going to be like willing buyers, and just by the nature of how much parity there is in the NHL, that there would be almost no teams that feel like they're out of it, or the teams that feel like they're out of it are so already in rebuilding mode that they're like, we're playing young guys and have 1 million draft picks already. What do you want us to? We don't have veterans to sell. There's just not that many teams like below 500 even. So the fact that there's now being kind of more and more players being thrown around as potential trade targets means, teams are getting closer to selling. I think that's good for the market if the Canes do want to go out there and buy.
Okay. I actually don't hate the idea of Evander Kane because, again, you're talking about third line winger, fourth line potentially. I don't hate the move. A big question you're going to have to ask yourself is, what's the long-term outlook of Eric Robinson with his shoulder? Because, his upper body injury. But that's something you have to take into consideration as well, is that's a heavy-body guy that also kills penalties as well. So they're all things you have to take into consideration. So, anyway, I actually don't hate the idea of Evander Kane on the team.
It's not like my... And maybe this is why it's like realistic. It's not my dream move. It's also not like a no. Like it's somewhere in the middle there, which might make it a bit more realistic.
Not going to scream no on that one. All right, we also had conversation yesterday about will the Carolina Hurricanes make any sort of just major trade. This is actually based off of a phone call during Monday Sound Off from our good friend Micah. This one comes from Sir Real Ghost. Being a fan from the start, the one thing we lack is the physical part of being a player. Take the Washington Capitals or the Florida Panthers and a few other teams. They play physical and they beat the crap out of us. Take our take our forecheck and add the physical part of our play, then we have something I know we can both do, but we need to do it every single game.
Yeah, I'm not going to be the one that stands up here and defends. I think the Canes need more physicality as well. I think in the postseason when it gets ramped up, when the refs tend to let more play and all of that happens, and you're playing the same team every night for a 4-game series, and those personalities bubble a little bit. I hear you. I also, this is where I'm struggling, and I'm not even saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying it's pretty obvious that's not what the Canes value the most. So, at what point are we just getting our hopes up that they're going to go get some big tough bully and? Maybe it's hard for those to show up in the analytics, so they can't justify it. I don't know. But, it's obvious they value, skating and a few other things a bit more than, how much edge do you bring to the table. But also, they brought up Washington as a team that bullies them. They beat Washington in 5 last year.
Yeah, they did.
So,
but Washington couldn't skate with them.
And there were games where, they were out hitting Washington and everything else. It's not like they cower. It's just, when they've caught against Florida, who, by the way, it's not like Florida's a walk in the park for teams with a bunch of dudes that are bigger and stronger. They're beating up bullies out there. You don't have to like it, and I don't like it, but, the Canes aren't the only team to get it roughed up by Florida.
All right, this one, same conversation. This one comes from Tony, real quick. I'd rather lose Stankoven than Nikishin or Nadeau.
I definitely see why the potential of Nikishin would be so exciting.
I don't get the Nadeau.
I put this disclaimer on it every single time. I don't watch a lot of AHL. I didn't watch Maine hockey 3 years ago. So I don't want to act like any kind of expert on what Nadeau's ceiling is. Other than I obviously watch the games where he's been called up, the handful of games that he's been with the big league club. Don't make him Stankoven had 5 goals in the postseason last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's not worth nothing. You know what I mean? That's something there. He's played in both the Eastern and Western Conference Finals and played big minutes in those. And he's 22? There's something there. I get Nikishin though. I mean, he's just there's a high potential there. But let's be real. You're going to have to evaluate what the contract's going to be and everything else. That's a cold business. You obviously have a little bit of control on Nikishin, but the cap's going up and up and up. And the Canes have some really, really good contracts, and you don't just want to give up on all of them, right? If you can find a way to keep them around and even push them down a line if you want to, if you're not as high on them, that. The contract that Logan Stankoven has 5 years from now, when he'll be essentially in the middle of his contract, could easily be a third liner's value based on where the contract is going. So it's not like you got to move on from him because you don't want to play him in your top 6. You can keep him around for a while.
Okay, we had a conversation yesterday about the Carolina Panthers tight end being a position that potentially could be upgraded as well. This one comes from Chevy Jr. Chevy Jr. says this, kind of a little opposite of what your feelings are, Tim, regarding tight end. Take the tight end from Oregon, Kenyon Sadiq, if a top-tier edge rusher is not available. No need to get more defensive tackles, wide receivers, or not very productive edges just because they are in need of an edge rusher.
I went through all of this yesterday. I don't trust first-round tight ends unless they are obvious. I've watched a good amount of tape on Sadiq. I don't see tight end skill the way I saw Bowers and Loveland. Tyler Warren was a different beast. He's a bigger dude, kind of different attitude. But as far as the pass catchers that are basically wide receivers playing tight end, I just don't see the body fluidity. I don't see the body control. I don't see the feel for the game the way I do with some of the other guys that have burst onto the scene as young players. And I don't think you draft a guy 19th overall hoping he's good as in year 3. I think if you draft a guy 19th overall, you're hoping he's good year 1. And that would be my concern with Sadiq. And then also this. When's the last time the athletic freak specimen worked at tight end? Vernon Davis, maybe? When was he drafted? 03? it's tight end and quarterback for whatever reasons. It's like the dad bods kind of work as well as anything. And that's just anecdotal. I don't have a reason for that, but it just doesn't seem like those positions, like receivers, 8-pack, right? You 0.2% body fat, like go nuts. Defensive backs, linebackers, look like an Under Armour mannequin, go crazy. For whatever reason, tight ends and quarterbacks, it doesn't seem to work that way. And offensive guards, no, I'm kidding. All right, there's some good feedback frenzy there here on The Drive. And we'll do that again on Thursday. Love hearing from all of you. Love the back and forth. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. When we come back, we will hit the starting five. But first, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry, and I can announce a pretty cool deal here. I can announce a pretty cool event. They are excited. Bailey's Fine Jewelry is to pass along details about an upcoming event at the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. If you haven't been, you need to go. It's not just a watch shop, right? It's not just there and you're looking at watches. It's an area to chill. You can have a drink. You can listen to some records off vinyl. You can sit at the bar. You can talk. You can interact. And you should do so on February 12th at the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location, because they are hosting an Olympic, Omega, hockey watch party from 3 to 6. So hopefully when you're there, you'll be listening to this show also. But it's going to be a fun afternoon celebrating the games, and Omega is the official timekeeper of the Olympic Games and have been since 1932. So you're mixing some of the coolest things. Good people, good vibes, good sporting events, great luxury timepieces, and Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Check out the Omegas. They'll be worth your time. And then you mix in all the others. That's just a bonus. Speedmasters have always kind of been my grail. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Coming up next, the starting five. As promised, we'll dive back into some ACC football. Schedules came out yesterday. Our initial thoughts coming up.
The Adam Gold Show.
Folks, Brandon Bussey just might be the guy. The performance against Buffalo, the consistency of performance, the fact that in his 22 starts, 13 times he has allowed 2 or fewer goals. Do you know what Carolina's record is when the goalie allows 2 or fewer goals? They are 18-1. That says it all.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
It's the playoffs, and honestly, your living room isn't ready for this. Your couch doesn't have award-winning wings, your fridge doesn't have 30 beers on tap, and your TV, it's outnumbered. Carolina Ale House has wall-to-wall TVs. We've got homemade favorites, ice-cold beer, and enough screens to catch every game at once. So grab your crew, bring your appetite, and yell at the TV like a professional. Don't fumble your game day plans. Watch the playoffs at Carolina Ale House, where great sports deserve great food. Ale, yeah.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet. Choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Save more on the brands pros trust at Lowe's. Right now, get up to 35% off select major appliances and choose from our wide lineup of top brands. Plus, save $100 on a Little Giant 22-foot multi-position ladder. Now just $189. Built for strength, flexibility, and job site versatility. Pros, these savings will only be here for a limited time. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 1/30. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for more details.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Amy Wilmoth. It is cold out there with temperatures in the 30s, and it turns very cold again overnight tonight. Mainly clear skies tonight with lows near 20 degrees. We'll have a mix of sun and clouds through the day Wednesday, and it stays cold with a high of 38.
This hour of The Drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell today, down 409 points to 49,003.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Don't forget, less than 2 hours now. At 7 o'clock here on 99.9 The Fan, Brandon Bussey will join Mike Maniscalco for another edition of Canes Corner. You can hear it right here, 99.9 The Fan. Get insight into Brandon Bussey's life, as I'm sure his life has changed in a whole bunch of ways over the last few months. Getting claimed off waivers by the Canes and becoming their goalie one, and winning 19 of his first 23 appearances. Pretty crazy. So that's right here on 99.9 The Fan tonight at 7. You can listen on obviously over the radio. You can listen to our app, 99.9 The Fan, and our live stream on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. That's
Got you covered.
All different ways. No excuses.
Or just go.
And you could go see it in person, and then you could watch it again on YouTube later. You can catch the things you missed or the things you want to hear twice. It's all available for you. So that's right here, 99.9 The Fan tonight at 7. Now it is time for the starting five, brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com, RICCI law.com. As always, the starting five starts with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We have ACC football schedules. Now, we knew the opponents. We knew the homes and aways. We knew so much of it. We now know times. We know order. We know when they're playing on Thursday, when they're playing on Friday, and all the likes. We'll give you a little break. I'm not going to just sit here and read them to you. You know, whatever your favorite team is, you can go look them up. But I'll give you a little bit of a instant reaction. For Duke, we'll start with them. They're obviously going to be breaking in some new players. Cooper Barkate and Darian Mensah are visiting Miami as we speak. They lost some players to the pros and then on and on. They'll have some time. I don't want to downplay their early part of their schedule, but it's backloaded, okay? If you look at their schedule, November 7th, State, 14th, Miami, Clemson, the 21st. These are all in November. And then they close out with Wake Forest on rivalry week. That's a relatively backloaded schedule. Virginia also kind of starts the second half. No disrespect to the ones at the beginning, but I think, if they don't come out of the first half of their schedule, significantly above 500, or at least, 4 of their first 6 or something like that, it's going to be a tough road to hoe for them down the stretch. If you're looking at Carolina, this is what everybody says. They have 2 byes. They're both in the first 5 weeks, which means they close with 9 straight games. Now, that's not – it's doable, right? Happens in the NFL all the time. The Panthers' bye week was, week 14?
Yeah, they played 13 straight.
And late bye weeks have been a thing, but it's rare to get them out of the way so early. That's going to be a tough stretch down the home stretch, if you will. But can I spin zone it appropriately?
Sure.
I think that's good. I think bye weeks are where one of the only chances you have to fix things. And if you have a week 9 bye week, that means you're playing 8 games before you get to fix, right? I'd much rather have the games on the other side of the bye and just tell my players, hey, we better condition like madmen during the offseason to make sure our bodies are ready to take a physical beating for 9 straight games without a bye week. But, I want, especially with all of the preaching of teaching that Bill Belichick and his staff have done, I want to be able to get my hands on them and teach them and fix mistakes as much as I can early in the season. So, yeah, I'm with it. I don't think that's as negative as everybody says. And then State, there's I don't think a ton to react to here. I think it's exactly what we thought it was going to be. They are still going to Brazil to open the game or open the season against Virginia, which is now a conference game. I don't think it was scheduled that way. Weird world we live in. And they I'd say a little backloaded, but, nothing too crazy. I think it's a very winnable schedule, if we're being real. I think it's a schedule that NC State fans will be saying, if you don't make the ACC championship with this schedule, then they'll get mad at Dave Doran. I think that's kind of how it works. Anything I'm missing? Anything stand out to you, Dennis?
No, not that I can think of. There are some games that were potentially flex, like Friday, Saturday. I think NC State might have 3 straight weeks where it's a potential Friday or Saturday game. I know Paul Eihender, the host of Next Up, earlier this morning mentioned how the fact that the week before Halloween, State is at, I think, Cal or Stanford. They got to go out west. That probably will be a Friday game. That means you'll probably be playing Halloween at Carter Finley, which I'm not going to lie, that sounds kind of fun.
Get dressed up. If I'm not mistaken, and I didn't look at a calendar, but I believe all of UNC's games are Saturdays, so they don't have to change their schedule.
Oh, they don't have any flex stuff?
I don't believe so. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's true.
No Monday night start to the season.
No Monday nighters. No Thursday, no Fridays, which means they get to really lock into a rhythm for those 9 straight weeks. It's just Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. Every Monday is the same. Every Tuesday is the same. Just Groundhog's Day for them for well over half a season.
Panthers in a 1:00 kick.
Yeah, exactly. Sunday at 1. Sunday at 1. Sunday at 1. East Coast, Sunday at 1. East Coast, Sunday at 1. It's very Panthers-like. That is number 1. Let's go ahead and jump to number 2.
You mean 5 to 4?
That's 5. Let's jump to 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
They might try to snap it before the 2-minute timeout, and they will. Quick throw to the left. Brown, lots of space. Steps out of a tackle. 10-5. Brown, touchdown! Queso gets it done, and Duke has the lead. So much for milking the clock, huh?
Okay, I'll take it. I'm set up to fail for the numbers thing. We count 1, 2, 3 for the big 3 at 3, and then we count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the starting 5.
It's okay. You've only been doing this show for 2.5 years. It's
set
fine.
up to fail.
Mm-hmm. It's the system's fault.
Bad coaching. Poor Craftsman blames his tools. Darian Mensah. Apparently it's over. Just out with a whimper. He, meaning Darian Mensah, and Duke settled out of court ahead of their hearing that was scheduled for January 29th, which makes it now Duke will not enforce you can't go enroll in other schools in exchange for whatever the settlement was. And very quickly, Darian Mensah and Cooper Barkate are on their visit to Miami. Pictures are floating around on social media of them on campus. I said this earlier. I just have 3 questions. 3 questions. Question number 1. Did Duke do enough for this situation to act as a deterrent for future players, right? If they sign another player to a multi-year grant of rights revenue style contract, does what Darian Mensah had to go through to get his clearance and what he had to give up, which we don't know, the settlement isn't public, is that enough to make other players not or think they can't do the same, right? Or is it everybody just watch Darian Mensah get what he wants, not know what they had to pay, so they're going to try it too if they can go cash in? That's one of the questions. Second question. If he does end up at Miami, and it is as obvious as it appears that right before the buzzer of the transfer portal, Miami somehow got message to Mensah that the money was gargantuan in South Florida and he should go join them. When he had already announced he was going back to Duke, he wasn't in the portal, tampering would be a thing. What does the ACC say about that? What does the commissioner of the conference, Jim Phillips, say about that when Miami was just the flag bearer? They were the front porch of the ACC and the CFP, and they just stole from, I don't even know if I allegedly, stole from their ACC champion Duke. Do you take sides? Do you, I don't know, punish? Do you scold? Or do you pretend like you didn't see any of it? What do you do if you're the conference? And then what are the takeaways? Because I think the biggest takeaway might be if you're a team, get more lawyers, more contract experts, and write even more airtight contracts so players can't leave, or the buyout, the cost of leaving is so great that they don't want to leave. I don't know. The ripple effects of this one could be felt for a while. The fact that it didn't go to court means like less precedent will be set, and we don't know how the judges would have ruled. I kind of wish that Duke just, took one for the team and said, no, we're going to trial.
Yeah.
And trial might not be the right word. We're gonna hear this in front of a judge, and we are gonna have rulings made. But turns out that's not how it's gonna happen.
Do you think players? I forget who wrote this on CBS. My apologies on this. On CBS Sports, I saw this, and someone posed the question of who's to say that come the end of spring, even though there's no spring transfer window, that a player just doesn't, I just drop out of school and I go enroll somewhere else because someone sent me DM saying, hey, I got X amount of dollars for you. And that happens. You don't have to go to the transfer portal because I dropped out of school and I just went ahead and enrolled at this other one and I happened to get offered a scholarship for the football team. Who says that's not going to happen this coming spring?
Nobody. You can't.
Yeah.
But
so what's the point?
The one saving grace is you always could have done that. And nobody has done it yet, right?
Well, now that there's no spring transfer portal window.
Correct. But I'm saying you could have done that when there was no transfer portal window at all. You can't prevent someone from going to school. You know what I mean? I hope it's just like, nobody had thought of that and nobody wants to. I don't know. I'm more concerned about eligibility than I am anything else. Part of me thinks, not part of me, all of me thinks, call them employees, let them unionize, collectively bargain, and we're good. And we get to move on, and we're good. But they don't seem to think that way, so what do I know? That's number 4. Let's jump to number 3.
Bailey, waist-high snap. Lofts it, left side of the end zone. Touchdown, NC State. C.J. Bailey waits, surveys the landscape, and fires a dart to Terrell Anderson.
So, okay. I think this is how people on the internet work, okay? You take one loose piece of information, you build a whole theory off of it, and then you believe it wholeheartedly. If you're Duke, did you just get insult added to injury in this way? Darian Mensah, transfer portal. Quickly, Cooper Barkay, your leading receiver, 1,000 yards, right? A guy you plucked out of the Ivy League and gave an opportunity at Duke, and he had a great season. Boom, he goes in the portal. Looks like he's going to Miami. So now JoJo Trader, a former 4-star wide receiver, top 100 recruit in the country, top 15 wide receiver in his recruiting class, goes, ooh, Barkade's coming? I don't know if there's enough room for me in this offense anymore. I'll hit the transfer portal. He commits to NC State. Now Duke lost their number 1 wide receiver because they lost their quarterback. And because they lost their number 1 wide receiver, their rival picked up a 4-star. That is insult to injury. That is a 3-piece combo. In reality, I think Trader probably saw the writing on the wall of his role already and was probably already on the way out. Did the honorable thing and stuck it out to the end of the CFP and then bounced. But he did commit to NC State. Ooh, wait a second here. Go ahead and this is ridiculous. Go ahead and hit that breaking news.
What is it?
Bill Belichick.
Oh.
The 8-time Super Bowl winning coordinator or head coach. Adam Schefter got that wrong. 6-time Super Bowl winning head coach, 2-time Super Bowl winning coordinator is not a first ballot Hall of Famer per Seth Wickersham.
Wow.
Belichick fell short of the 40 out of 50 votes needed for his induction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. Listen, I'm all for a stringent or a stingy Hall of Fame. And maybe Bill Belichick's legacy or his reputation has taken a hit in the last year or two based on how things have gone. I can't emphasize this enough. He has 6 Super Bowl championships as a head coach. That is a first ballot Hall of Famer. If the resume was one line long, and he wasn't also the defensive coordinator for multiple championships with the Giants, if he wasn't also credited for unlocking the best levels of Lawrence Taylor, if he also wasn't the guy that said, Drew Bledsoe, I know you're the highest paid player in the league. You're going to the bench because we're rolling with this 6-rounder unknown guy. Like, if he wasn't that, if all he had was head coach, 6 Super Bowls, he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I know many of you are going to say, it's just Hall of Fame. No one cares about the Hall of Fame. You know what I do? Do you know why? Because guys work their entire lives building legacies, and they sacrifice, and they do a ton to have success, and they want to be honored in that way. And it matters, okay? It does. And Bill Belichick is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's not, but he is. It's just a fact. And now he's going to get in. And there are 10 humans out there. 10. That are trusted with voting. I don't know what committee votes on coaches, but that are trusted in voting on this. They are given some level of expertise and power, and they don't think Bill Belichick's a first ballot Hall of Famer. And these are the ones deciding who gets to go in and be immortal in Canton, Ohio. It throws off the integrity of it all. And it shouldn't, right? Because now you look at a whole bunch of other guys in the hall and you go like, well, how did they get in? Were they voted in by these people? Because if they are, now I can't trust their opinions. And that is how sports debates work, by the way. You could trust a guy in an argument your entire life. Then he throws something crazy out there. He's like, in a different situation, Kyle Bowler would have been Peyton Manning. And you're like, well, now I have to question everything you ever argued. Bill Belichick, not a Hall of Famer. And eligible, by the way. It'd be like, if he's not eligible, he's not eligible. But he is eligible. Not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Like you said, just his resume. You have 6
head coach
Super Bowls.
Most by a long shot in
it's
NFL
not even
history.
Close.
Like, if you look at him versus other entire franchises, it's a pretty good argument. He might be like just the Belichick era Patriots are the greatest franchise. And you could give all the credit to Brady. He started them.
Yeah.
Right?
I know Lombardi had the NFL championships leading up before the Super Bowl had actually started. So he has 7, I think, between NFL championships. I'm actually looking up here. He's 5-time NFL champion, 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Okay. If your argument is he might be worse than Lombardi.
Yeah.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, exactly.
He might be a Hall of Famer. That's ridiculous. He might be a Hall of Famer with like a first ballot Hall of Famer with half as many Super Bowls.
Yeah.
If you were the head coach for 3 and you got to keep the 2 that he was the coordinator for the Giants and he still had the impact on the game that he had, goodness gracious. All right, let's I forget what number we're on. We'll combine number 2 and number 1 here, so we'll do whatever sounder
By the way,
want.
he's 3rd all-time in career wins, 302. Don Shula, George Halas, the only 2 ahead of him.
Again. And I think Shula coached forever. I would assume.
Yeah, Don Shula coached.
There's more years there. If your argument is he might be 2nd or 3rd at worst 3rd in pretty much every meaningful statistic. Because by the way, it's not like Lombardi was number 1 in most wins or whatever. Like never mind. I don't even want to have to get into detail on this, right? It's some are just yep. He's in, like, if I'm in that room and we're debating and we're like, hey, everybody, so-and-so, like Belichick is on the screen for 2 seconds. Bill Belichick, yep. All right, next, who else are we debating? Like, I don't need you to bring up his resume. That guy's in, who's next? It's like we're picking a high school basketball team. All right, tryouts. Does LeBron make it? Yep, next guy. Like, that's all you do. Again, we're going to combine number 2 and number 1 here, so sound whatever sounder you want. College basketball, Duke won last night against Louisville. Tonight, NC State versus Syracuse. First of all, shout out to the ACC, mixing them up. We had everybody in the triangle play at noon on Saturday because of the weather. It's kind of nice to have one on Monday, one on Tuesday. UNC's playing later on. I think they got a nice little break here. Just spreading them out so we can watch them all. I appreciate that.
Yeah, they don't play till Saturday.
Can appreciate that. That's actually good for UNC too. Big win, get a little break, kind of catch your breath. But Duke smoked Louisville, won by 31. It was a big, obviously, and every game is a big. I said Carlos Boozer, big Cameron Boozer game. But it was Hamania and Gongba kind of as the next 2 guys in the scoring column. Obviously Isaiah Evans, but he's been more of a stalwart. That's important for Duke to continue to find other avenues of scoring. It's one of those things that you hope to not have it. It's like we just had all the weather, right? Guess what I did, right? Everybody, did you fill up your tub with water? Did you fill up with a cooler with water in case you needed it? Did you go out and buy a bunch of non-perishable food? Did you make sure you had firewood or whatever you need, right? And then you probably didn't need it, but it's better to have prepared for it and not need it. That's kind of what I'm like with Duke, right? It's like prepare for the game when Cameron Boozer has a hard time scoring. Prepare for it where he can't be the centerpiece of the offense and hope that you never have to use it, right? Hope that you just filled your tub up with water and then a couple days later you just drain it because it was like, didn't end up needing it. That's what it is for Duke right now. Get Hamania working, get Dame Sarr working, get everybody scoring more, and then hope you never have to ask them to do that in a high-pressure situation. And for State versus Syracuse tonight, they their quote-unquote best player, right? Their preseason All-ACC, preseason ACC Player of the Year, Darian Williams, has proven to not be as consistent. So they're going to need to prepare for games where Williams scores 7, right? They're going to need to prepare for games where he's not the main character. I still think he needs to, at least to a certain respect, have the ball in his hands, right? But, yeah. Kadir Copeland, you're going to have to score. Van Allen Lubin, double-doubles. McNeil, shoot. Abel off the bench, be that spark plug. Those guys, they're going to have to do it, right? So it's not you're preparing and hoping you're never going to have to use it. That's like, preparing for thunderstorms in Seattle. It rains there a lot. I'm trying to think of or ready for this? Preparing to deal with snow in Marquette, Michigan, which, fun fact, more snowfall in Marquette, Michigan than anywhere else in the continental United States.
Marquette, Michigan, not where Marquette is located, by the way.
Nope. Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
The UP.
If you prepare for snow there, you're going to need what you're prepared for, right? Like it's not, you're not getting your snowblower out and going, I hope I don't have to use that this season. Like you're going to have to use it. That's NC State. Have more scores, have more offense than Darian Williams because you're going to have to need it. You're going to need it. Now, obviously, the games where he's lighting it up and he's hitting from 3 and he's creating for everybody, you can build off of that. But it's not going to be every game. And they've gotten much better at it as the season has gone along, right? The first 4 or 5 games, he scored like 30 points 3 times. I forget what it was. Scored a ton. When he went through his first kind of lulls is where, everything was shaky. Now they're coming out on the other side much better prepared to shoulder larger parts of the scoring load. And then no better example than against Pitt, right? I think he had 7 points, but everybody else was a star in their role. Syracuse could be a very similar game, or it could be a game where he scores 30 again, and you get to build off that. They're going to have to be a bit more amorphous. How about that for a SAT word? After I proved counting is difficult for me earlier, I like to mix in a real SAT word just to keep you guessing. The starting 5, by the way, is brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com, RICCI law.com. We need numbers game contestants. Ooh, we got a prize, a little change up. The prize for the numbers game today, pair of tickets to see Neo and Akon at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 10th.
Nice.
What pun should I go with here? Are you so sick of love songs? Would you like to be locked up? They can't get you out? Are you Mr. Lonely? Neo and Akon at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 10th. The prize for today's numbers game, if you want to win the prize and the glory that comes with winning the numbers game, call in now, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 for your chance to compete in the numbers game, which is coming up next.
Listen for the oh my goodness.
Sears pulls up left wing 3. Ring it up. A dagger. A dagger by Sears.
They got posters.
Rebound battled for. Picked down Badunga. Rejected emphatically by Coleman Hawkins.
One in the what?
Maddox for Xavier. He'll throw a bounce pass in the lane for a two-handed jam.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9 The Fan.
This is Gordon Miller for Miller Lending in Cary. Back in 1989, when I first went on the radio to introduce this whole no closing cost concept, where you could actually close on your mortgage without the lender taking $15,000, I had no idea if I had created the next pet rock fad of the day or something that would define my career over the course of the next 37 years. But once mortgage rates fell from 9 down to 6, our business exploded and I never looked back. You see, a no-cost loan is the only consumer-friendly mortgage where the homeowner actually holds all the cards. Short funds to close, eliminate thousands of dollars in closing costs. Rates are now down almost 2% from the peak, but you're holding off due to the cost of a refi? Not anymore. So let's start you down that path of eliminating closing costs once and for all and keep that money where it belongs, with you. 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146.
Hey friends, Paul Lyhander here from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday, one last kickoff, the final chance to place your bets before the NFL season closes its tab. It's Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you're in on it. If you're a new customer, bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. So whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, make it count. Because after the Super Bowl, the season's over, and football is officially done. Last call for football on FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com/Paul and get started. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. And somebody out there is lucky. This happens occasionally. A line opens up at the last second. And we have an open line right now. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. You can call in and get thrown right into the numbers game. And you might walk away with a pair of tickets to see Neo and Akon at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 10th. Don't want you showing up 10 days after the concert. So call in now. We do have one on the line, and then we had one drop. So 919-860-5326. Call in now. I mean, if you're of a certain age, which might be kind of my exact age, Neo and Akon, it's right down Main Street. Think Neo will wear a fedora? You're darn right he'll wear a fedora. There you go. All right, lines are filled now. We have Asa in Wake Forest, and we have Lee in Apex on the line. They will jump straight into the numbers game. But first, we have to bring them each onto the show, ask them the same question. Dennis will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. Asa, you'll be up first. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Perfect. We were talking earlier about how former athletes should just open up restaurants in their college towns, and especially if they were stars and they'd make money. So if Asa in Wake Forest was opening a restaurant, kind of like naming like your band name or something, what would your restaurant be named?
Oh, see, when you started that, I was like, man, I'd go Julius Peppers in Charlotte and just call it the Pepper House. But with my name, I got such a weird name.
It doesn't have to be like a pun on your name. It could just be what you would call it. But continue.
Oh, okay. I mean, so I'm a big mac and cheese fan. My mom makes some of the best mac and cheese in the world, and I've been telling her to open up a food truck for it. So I'd probably have to go with like a Mac House or something like that. I think Mac House sounds pretty good.
All right. The irony of the Mac House being a truck is
it is. Oh,
I kind of like
to go
that.
see it.
I like that. Mac House. All right, Asa, you're locked in with Mac House. We'll go to Lee in Apex. Lee, can you hear me?
I can.
All right, same question to you. We were just joking around talking about naming restaurants earlier. So, if you owned a restaurant, what would the name of it be? What would you call your restaurant?
Birdies and Brews, because I'd have a golf simulator in my restaurant.
Birdies and Brews. All right. Both of you did very good, or very well, I should say, coming up with it on the spot. All right, Dennis, you have Mac House for a mac and cheese food truck, or Birdies and Brews because there's going to be simulators at that brew house.
Well, there is already a restaurant called the Mac House that is up in Wake Forest that does mac and cheese. So I can't go with Asa on this one because that restaurant already exists.
Compliments to whoever named that one because obviously they thought it was a good name.
It is. So I'm going to go Birdies and Brews with the golf simulator and all that. I like the idea of having an activity at the restaurant and all that. I like that as well. So I'm going to go Lee and Apex on this one.
All right, Birdies and Brews gets the honors. But Asa will also have his chance. Just have to sit on hold and wait a couple minutes. But Lee, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. In just a second here, we'll bring up the categories, and you'll get to make your choice. Here we go. We have NFL players, Panthers throughout history, NFL players that have only 8 letters in their full name, that's first and last combined, NBA players born south of the equator, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
I'll go with the Panthers numbers.
Okay.
NFL.
It is. I'll give you the player's name and the team. They'll give me the jersey number. You'll give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, 1 pass if you need it. We do know the team in this category, but I'll say it anyway, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Nope, I'm ready.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Derek Brown, Carolina Panthers.
95.
Correct. Hunter Renfrow, Carolina Panthers.
11.
Incorrect. Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina Panthers.
5.
Correct. Roman Harper, Carolina Panthers.
27.
Incorrect. Hunter Renfrow, Carolina Panthers.
13.
Correct. J.J. Jansen, Carolina Panthers.
Pass.
Roman Harper, Carolina Panthers.
Pass.
You can't pass.
32.
Incorrect. But 3 out of 5 was pretty well done. You got Derek Brown, you got Renfrow, you got Bridgewater, Teddy Two Gloves. Roman Harper wore number 41 with the Panthers, and J.J. Jansen, the longtime long snapper, number 44 is what we were looking for. But as we said, 3 is the leader in the clubhouse. So stay on the line. We'll see if it holds up. And that brings us to Asa. Asa, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Perfect. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players with only 8 letters in their full name, that's first and last combined, NBA players born south of the equator, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
You know me. I'll go NBA south of the equator.
Okay. I got to give you a little bit of credit here. This category has been sitting there for a long time, and I am happy to see somebody call it. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You need 4 for the win. And as we mentioned, these are all NBA players born south of the equator. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, sir. Good to go.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Kyrie Irving, Dallas Mavericks.
11.
Correct. Steven Adams, Houston Rockets.
4.
Incorrect. Serge Ibaka, Oklahoma City Thunder.
Pass.
Manu Ginobili, San Antonio Spurs.
20.
Correct. Leandro Barbosa, Phoenix Suns.
Barbosa is 19.
Correct. Steven Adams, Houston Rockets.
12.
Correct. Manu Ginobili, San Antonio Spurs. Or Serge Ibaka,
20.
Oklahoma City Thunder.
8. 9.
No, I feel so bad.
Ah.
I messed up and read the wrong name. I don't know how much time that would have cost you, but you were on the doorstep of a perfect score. Oh, no. Oh, well, first of all, you're the winner, so congratulations. You get the Neo tickets. You get to go see Akon. Congratulations on that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I don't think I've messed up like that in months. And
We might have to rule on that one at some point.
And you, if I would have been able to read the name twice, your next guess was 9, and you were confident about it, and it was right. It was just after the buzzer. So I'll bring that one to the judges tomorrow during the day, and make sure Dennis gets your contact info. We may reach out to you, and we may throw a challenge flag, and you may retroactively get the touchdown.
Hey.
I'll argue for you. I feel bad about that one. But congratulations. You get the tickets. I don't know why I'm acting like you didn't win.
I appreciate it.
Stay on the line, and Dennis will grab the info that he needs.
We haven't had a perfect score since November 7th.
And I may have just completely
I think you just
us.
ruined it.
Oh, man. And it's in that category. That category, I've said probably 100 times, NBA players born south of the equator, and it's never been picked. And he went into uncharted territory and lit it up. And I went and read the same one twice. Gosh, darn it. And you know what's the funny part? Serge Ibaka, number 9, is like a weird pet piece of trivia for me because I've told you about this a bunch, and I don't know why, but when I was in college, one of the biggest locker room arguments we would get into was whose jersey number, we played football, whose jersey number you could put together the best starting 5 in the NBA for. And I have no idea why, but we would argue about it all the time. I think it's because my row was mostly like receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks, so we all kind of had cool numbers. But I was number 9, and I had Rondo, and I had Parker, and I had Serge Ibaka were my anchors. Those were the guys that I was always arguing for. And I for some reason went right around it to Manu Ginobili on my sheet here, even though he had already gotten it right. Not my best day of reading, if we're being real, but I guess we all have our off days. This is a day where I need to go up the post game presser where it's like we prepared, we showed up, we were ready to play. Pretty much early on the turnover bug caught us, and we didn't get it rolling. But I do feel bad for Asa. Asa waited while we went and found some, we had a player drop, and he had to be patient, and he was, and then he absolutely lit up an NBA category. I apologize. We'll go to the judges tomorrow, like I said. But he did win himself Neo and Akon tickets, pair of tickets at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 10th. There's some sad Neo songs that might be played on the way home to help me get that emotion out. Messed up for somebody else. I'm only part joking. No, I'm joking. Brandon Bussey will be right here on 99.9 The Fan in about an hour and 20 minutes. The new hot goaltender, 19-3-1 since joining the Carolina Hurricanes. Claimed off waivers, brought up, and he's done really well. Pyotr Kochetkov now hurt for the year. Freddie Anderson has had his struggles. Brandon Bussey has been the steadying presence, and he will be on Canes Corner, 7 o'clock here on 99.9 The Fan. He'll be interviewed by Mike Maniscalco, voice of the Canes. Always some interesting tidbits about life in the NHL, and you'll catch some from Brandon Bussey, the guy in net there, which is a really cool thing, right? Then you don't often get longer form, hour-long conversations with pro athletes where you kind of get to peel back some layers on their life and what it's like and what they're going through. Usually it's the 10-minute media scrums or the little jumbotron intermission conversations. So I'm looking forward to this one with Brandon Bussey tonight right here on 99.9 The Fan, as well as the 99.9 The Fan app, as well as our 99.9 The Fan YouTube, where you can catch the live stream. It'll be at the local, so there'll be a bunch of you out there listening and watching from the local.
By the way, if you are planning on going, give yourself a little extra time because there's the state basketball game that tips off at 7 o'clock as well. So traffic might be a little congested over there, just a little FYI.
And my guess is there'll be a good amount of people that want to, be a part of the Bussey experience.
Yes.
And so even if there wasn't a state game, even more so because of the state game, get there early because, crowds will form. Bussey's he's a hot draw right now.
He is.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll talk about that State-Syracuse game in just a few minutes. But first, Dennis Cox has something he'd like to pass along.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick from my friends over at Loan Pronto. Low mortgage rates, they're back. Loan Pronto has fixed-rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%, lowest in years. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time, or you can keep your primary mortgage intact and get cash out of your equity with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home equity. They paid off all their credit cards and some car loans and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now and see what option works best for you, but don't miss the big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous Rapid Equity Loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks, and you may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 919-381-1760 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal with no hard credit pull. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166171, APR for well-qualified buyers. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. As promised, we'll get into the NC State-Syracuse game tonight, coming up after this.
Move your sports day forward.
The goal for the Carolina Hurricanes in the remaining games before the Olympic break, simple. Replenish those reverse Uno cards. The tilting the ice and playing catch-up from allowing early goals or silly penalties needs to stop in the third period. Put the hammer down early. And please, please, please don't let Stanky or Jarvie go a game without a single shot.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Pondering prizes with Cash Pop? Why pick just one pop when you can pick as many pops as you please? Up to 15. Picture this. You pick your pop, perhaps a powerful 7. Now pick more pops like a proud 9, a pristine 15, a perfect 10. Each pop propagates more potential to pack your pockets with prizes up to $2,500. So prepare for a peppering of prizes with Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Cash Pop. Play more pops, win more prizes. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds charts at nclottery.com. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
ESPN presents the NHL Stadium Series in a most unexpected place. A hockey takeover of Tampa, Florida and Raymond James Stadium, where the Boston Bruins collide with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Nikita Kucherov! 2 teams take their shot at a one-of-a-kind game. The 2026 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. Bruins, Lightning, Sunday, February 1st at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. ACC basketball tonight. NC State hosting Syracuse. This is, when it comes to like a consistency thing, it's a game that'll probably be overlooked from like the big picture. Not from NC State fans, but from like college basketball fans. Unless State loses, right? It's an unfair thing that pops up every now and then, right? When you're an 11.5 point favorite, 10.5 as it stands right now, I think it just popped down one. It's kind of a lose-lose for you, right? Either you win and perhaps win handily, or everybody looks at you and starts saying things about what you're not and what you can't do. So as long as you win and you win by, close to the spread, you're going to walk away with, you're on the win streak now. You're going to walk away with some positive momentum. You're going to walk away with another feather in the cap of the Will Wade era. Then it becomes, how do you make sure that happens? The easiest way is have Darian Williams play well and have the game run through him offensively. and show all of the effort and drive and all the things that Will Wade rants about when his team's not playing well on defense, right? When you're on defense, play with your hair on fire. And when you're on offense, play through Darian Williams is kind of the way that this roster was envisioned. If Darian Williams isn't having that kind of game, if he's not knocking down his shots, if there's different times he's been banged up in different ways, shoulder, whatever, for whatever reason, if he's not going to be that main player, State now knows they can win, right? They've played a few times where they've had to lean on other guys to be the straw that stirs the drink, and they've been okay. Now, when you're playing the better teams in the ACC, I think you're going to need all hands on deck. But they proved against Pittsburgh on the road just this past Saturday that they can lean on everybody else and they'll stand up and do what they have to do. I don't even want to say I think. I know that the expectations were rushed for State based on the bravado that really the entire program showed during the offseason, right? Will Wade's introductory press conference, we're not rebuilding, all those things. But then even when we talked with Darian Williams at ACC tip-off, there was very little appearing, right? Obviously, you never know what's going on in someone's brain, but there was very little appearance of any doubt going on with the NC State crew, right? They were walking around like they knew they were good and they just couldn't wait to show us. Darian Williams was talking about Hubert Davis, and he was talking about going to the NBA, and he was talking about all these things, and expectations were rushed. But if you remove that, if you remove the bravado, whatever you want to call it, confidence, arrogance, whatever you think it falls on that threshold, it wouldn't make sense that it took them a while to kind of figure out their roles. And it appears now as if their roles are very solidified, right? Kadir Copeland, floor general, right? Setting everybody else up and looking for his own shot more. He's a much higher usage player offensively than I thought he was going to be. Van Allen Lubin, steady Eddie down low. Paul McNeil, shooter, right? Every team needs him. Shooter, create spacing. Trey Holloman, Matt Abel. They're the kind of other guard, and they're each going to play 20-something minutes. And when one has it going, the other might play a little bit less, but they're different in a lot of ways, and I think that's good. They're kind of the curveball. They're the changeup. And you look at a few of the other big guys off the bench, they're going to be called upon as needed. And if you look at Will Wade, he's going to press the buttons and pull the strings with very little tact, right? He does his work with a sledgehammer. He doesn't bring out the white gloves and the soft, right? What he thinks he's going to do, he's going to do it. And it might not be right for everybody, but that program's going to get used to it. So as we near the end of January, right, and you're, what are we, about halfway through, maybe a little bit less than halfway through the ACC schedule, if things are just coming into picture now, that makes a lot of sense. It's not the timeline that we've been acting like they should be on because of, like I said, everything that took place this offseason, but it would make sense if that is the timeline they're on, where now everybody knows the expectations for them. Everybody knows what a good game for them looks like, meaning individually. And if they look at the next 4 games, and SMU may be a little different here, but Syracuse, Wake Forest, SMU, and then Virginia Tech, that's a easier stretch of the schedule. I don't want to disrespect anybody. And SMU, like I said, they've beaten some good teams. But that's an easier stretch of the schedule, followed up by a very tough stretch of the schedule. That's the where the rubber meets the road. Louisville, Miami, UNC, Virginia, Notre Dame, and Duke. That's a stretch of 6 games where 4 are currently ranked. 2 of those ranked opponents are on the road. That's a really tough schedule. So if they're putting it together now, let's just pretend might be the wrong word. Let's assume, which is dangerous because you know what it does. But let's assume everybody's kind of figuring out their role, and now it's about polishing. They have 3 of their next 4 games to do some polish. Then they hit their toughest stretch of their conference schedule, and that's their last chance to get battle tested for the ACC tournament. If they win a handful of those, The tough games, what I'm talking about, they win 3 or 4 of those 6 games, and they're the right games. You could punch your at-large ticket before the ACC tournament, which I think would be gigantic, not only for NC State, right, fulfilling some of those preseason promises, right, will be an NCAA tournament team, but also for the ACC, right? You can't get to 8 teams in the NCAA tournament if you have 13 need to go on long runs in the ACC tournament to polish up their resume before Selection Sunday. So you need some teams to punch their ticket early, and I think that's still very much a possibility for NC State. 14-6, 5-2 in conference. Now they do need to gobble up some more quad 1 wins. They did get the one against Clemson. That's massive. But they also can't afford too many of the bad losses. That's the one thing, not one thing, but that's a thing they really have going for them. Outside of the Georgia Tech loss, their losses have aged pretty well. Right? The Seton Halls, the obviously Virginias, Texas, Auburn, those teams have played well. So it's not hurting them as much in all of the advanced analytics. Syracuse is one of the bottom feeders. That's why, we kind of talk about the side quests. In most games, it's just win. When you're a double-digit favorite, it becomes win and that's what I'm looking for. How many of the side quests can you conquer? You know what I'm waiting for? And I don't know if you're ever going to get it. This is like a kid hoping for the approval of a mentor. If I'm State, I just want Will Wade in a post-game press conference one time to go like, that's how I want you to play. If you play bad, he's going to let you know. You want to play so well that in a post-game presser, he's like, boom, that's what we're aiming for. I don't know if you'll ever get there, but, shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars, right? That's what they say. Shoot for the Will Wade praise. Even if you miss, you might land amongst the not Will Wade complaints.
Could land on Mars. You never know.
Neptune? Pluto's not even a planet anymore.
It's not. Sad.
The drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I don't even know what to do with that. The rest of the ACC schedule for tonight. Wake Forest is at Pitt. I think both of those teams are circling that one as like, you can actually win this one.
Yeah, kind of need to have it.
Yeah, kind of. Hey, if we're not in the top tiers, let's establish a hierarchy of those of us down here, and we want to be at the top of it. Virginia at Notre Dame as they look to bounce back from the UNC game over the weekend. Notre Dame's a friendly face there. And Georgia Tech at Virginia Tech. That's kind of another one of those hierarchy games down at the bottom, although I'd say Virginia Tech is the obvious favorite there. But let's be real. If you're into sports and you're in this area, you're either watching the State game or you're out at the local or listening to the Canes Corner with Brandon Bussey right here on 99.9 The Fan. And you're probably recording the other. Right? You could always, if you're at the State game, you could go watch Brandon Bussey on Canes Corner on our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan, a little bit later on. Or if you're at the local and you're watching Brandon Bussey and you're talking and you're trying to get your questions asked and all that sort of thing, talking during commercials, you can go back and watch the State game later on. Those are the options there. With the Brandon Bussey side of it, and I wonder how much Mike Maniscalco, because Mike Maniscalco is, he's, as I joke, Timo and propaganda a little bit there, right? Mm-hmm. He's on the inside. I wonder how much they'll get into the contract stuff with Brandon Bussey.
I was thinking how cool it would be tonight if it's like, I get guys who just signed like a 2-year extension.
If Mike Maniscalco brings it up early, I almost would expect that.
Yeah.
If he's just going like, so people are talking about it, what are those conversations with your agent like? If that's in like before the first break, I almost expect Bussey to go, yeah, I'm not leaving. He should do the full Leonardo DiCaprio, exactly. I'm not leaving, which would be cool. At this point, and we did it during Copper Drop earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens during the Olympics, right? Because with the roster freeze, there'll be like more time to really like hash it out. But it's become what appears to be a priority of getting Bussey locked up for at least the near future, another year or two at least, and potentially more. Who knows? So we'll see. But you have to tune in at 7 o'clock here on 99.9 The Fan to see if Bussey pulls the old surprise announcement for us on Canes Corner. We hope you do. Again, 3 ways to listen to that. Radio, 99.9 The Fan. YouTube, 99.9 The Fan live stream. 99.9 The Fan app. Those are the 3 to watch it live or listen to it live. With that being said, NC State tonight, we'll react tomorrow. Bussy talking tonight, we'll react tomorrow. Overdrive coming up next, talking about the Duke win last night and setting the podium. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. Tell your friends about it, share it, subscribe, all those things. Until tomorrow, have a great night, everybody.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
It was a one-team market for Sam Darnold. The team that he won 14 games with last year didn't want him. The other teams around the National Football League, none of them really wanted him. Seattle paid him, but if you look at the structure of that contract, it really is a year-to-year proposition. And they were rewarded for taking a chance on Sam Darnold with him taking them to the Super Bowl.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to.